The mythologies of many worlds tell of a time when the gods walked the earth before, for varying reasons, they depart. Gaecia is not one of those worlds. They never departed. Coming into being at the beginning of the Second Age, the gods fought in the dark wars against the entities that came before them, driving them underground and claiming the surface world for themselves. They created the plants and animals of the world together, but each in isolation made their greatest works, the races of the world in their own image. The fledgling races looked up to their godly masters and worshipped them all equally, and the gods ruled them together. However, this way of living eventually proved unsustainable. The petty disagreements of the gods manifested in preferential treatment of their own creations and ignoring the ones of those they wished to spite. Centuries of squabbling and bickering eventually boiled over and turned into the Titan Wars. The gods fought each other, and the races of the world were dragged into the conflict. Generation upon generation fought one another, bleeding and dying at the behest of their gods, whose anger blinded them to the suffering of their children. It seemed like it would never end, that there'd be no resolution to their disputes, with each god too proud to ever admit fault. During the Battle of Scarlet's Peak, the unthinkable happened. Ulfgar, god of the dwarves, died. Caught off guard from a surprise shot by an elvish warrior, Ulfgar was dealt a mortal blow by Sailor and goddess of the elves. The result of this duel effectively ended the wars, the hatred of the gods tempered by their grief. They looked at the world around them and saw the results of their combat and repented. They swore an oath to each other to not let such devastation occur again. And so as the Third Age began, they divided Gaecia into territories and took their own children there to rule them. And so it has been for 3 millennia, each race living in their own lands, ruled by those who are both king and god. While they abide mostly within the constraints they set upon themselves, tensions are arising anew, and people fear that a new war is on the horizon. The mythologies of many worlds tell of a time when the gods walked the earth before, for varying reasons, they depart. Gaecia is not one of those worlds. They never departed. Coming into being at the beginning of the Second Age, the gods fought in the dark wars against the entities that came before them, driving them underground and claiming the surface world for themselves. They created the plants and animals of the world together, but each in isolation made their greatest works, the races of the world in their own image. The fledgling races looked up to their godly masters and worshipped them all equally, and the gods ruled them together. However, this way of living eventually proved unsustainable. The petty disagreements of the gods manifested in preferential treatment of their own creations and ignoring the ones of those they wished to spite. Centuries of squabbling and bickering eventually boiled over and turned into the Titan Wars. The gods fought each other, and the races of the world were dragged into the conflict. Generation upon generation fought one another, bleeding and dying at the behest of their gods, whose anger blinded them to the suffering of their children. It seemed like it would never end, that there'd be no resolution to their disputes, with each god too proud to ever admit fault. During the Battle of Scarlet's Peak, the unthinkable happened. Ulfgar, god of the dwarves, died. Caught off guard from a surprise shot by an elvish warrior, Ulfgar was dealt a mortal blow by Sailor and goddess of the elves. The result of this duel...
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Rolling With It. Today we are presenting episode 21 of Gaecia, Homemade Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition campaign. I'm Crazy Fact, I'll be your Dungeon Master of the evening. I made this world and we guide through it. I very much hope you enjoy your stay. With me tonight is Britty.
Hi, I'm Britty. I had to change my sleep schedule because daylight savings is an absolute bastard, but I'm here and I'm awake.
Riley.
Hello, I'm Riley. I did not have to do any of that. I play Gareth Dimbuckle, our Warlock.
Matt.
Hey, I'm Matt. I'm playing Fenix, our level 5 Fire Ganassi divination wizard, and I'm the token American this week because Britty didn't say it.
No! My roll!
You can just
I've
be
Right.
That's how it works.
I've been
Um,
bad.
Nat.
Hello, I'm Nat. I play Arlath, the Twilight Domain cleric. Don't die.
And finally, Lumie.
Hey, I'm Lumie. I don't have a sleep schedule at all. And I am playing Urashi, our Ancestral Guardians Barbarian.
Cool. Quick point of note. There are a few experimental things going on this stream, both in-game on Roll20 and other things, so bear with me, everybody, please. Also, my voice might be going, so I might just give out halfway through, so that will be fun. I'll try not. I've got a drink, but
If the DM's voice
Be
gives it
prepared.
out, are we legally allowed to leave?
Only
It
after
has to
15
give.
minutes.
Yeah, it has to give out for 15 minutes.
yeah, only if I'm stopping
If you
bit
can't get
that
it
lasts
back in 15
minutes.
legally allowed to go.
That or one of the lungs comes up.
Ooh.
Nice, healthy.
Yeah. I paint word pictures is what I do.
Plague rat.
So we get freedom or a lung. Interesting choice.
Plague rat.
A lung,
My kingdom for a lung. Why did we
Um,
both go there?
Fucking English majors.
No.
What was I talking about? Oh, yes. Okay. So last time on Gaecia, our group of adventurers, we were in Rak Cthan, this kind of primarily fishing city. Yeah, kind of on the west coast of Gaecia. There they picked up a modicum, I guess, of kind of basic adventure work. There was a group of bandits / pirate thingies who had been attacking merchant vessels who had been kind of sailing up the Oceanus River to Rak Cthan, and the fishing guild, unsurprisingly, weren't big fans of that. So they hired various people to stop them. To get it done ASAP, they hired multiple groups, including ours. They kind of set off a few hours behind another group that had left early in the morning, and eventually they kind of caught up to the banks of the river. There they noticed a camp of presumably their rivals, but they seemed to not be doing anything in the evening because it was kind of late when you arrived. But you decided to, using Arlas's impressive ability to walk on water, you decided to circumvent them, keeping a long distance, and you got out to the island where the bandits had been hiding out. There you found a plethora, I believe is the word, of kobolds, who, seeing you marching up, it was actually when Ash and Fleet were climbing up the side of the island, they decided to chuck rocks on them.
It was
And
very not nice.
well, they are bandits. And yeah, I think general mayhem broke loose.
Except as we discovered, they weren't.
Well, it turns out what reports had been guessing were a catapult launching rocks at the ships turned out instead to be a sizable hill giant. So things got a lot more deadly quite quickly. And so the party eventually fought through the hordes of kobolds and the giants until most of them were actually unconscious due to the Fenix sleep spells. And the giant was decidedly slain. One of the kind of kobold mages, wizard caster dudes managed to escape, eluding
Hindsight.
Fenix with a natural 20 on stealth. And then Arlath took it upon his own hands to commit genocide, is the only really applicable term. Cold-bloodedly murdering all the remaining kobolds while they slept. leaving just one, the other mage,
I
behind.
think mass murder is more accurate than genocide, but
Mass slaughter.
details.
I thought we
In a
had
pit.
decided on Blender.
I had
I'll have to decide on Blender.
I prefer janitorial work.
Oh.
Oh,
Me.
dude.
I think we agree it probably wasn't good for the environment. Because if it was a night, you would have seen the river flowing red with blood, which is indeed what I've called the bod.
Nice. Metal as heck. Hell yeah.
flowing down the stream. I mean, there's a lot of iron in blood. But yes, they took the one surviving kobold back to shore, and when they stood, as the day dawned, they were approached by visitors from this other camp. They seemed to be a subset of another adventurers who call themselves the Challengers of Calamity. About
Well, we've
four of
got
them.
plenty of calamity for them.
There's about four of them. Seemingly, they had a fifth member who was getting a boat, which they were going to use to get to the island before you had decidedly beat them out fair and square. And eventually you returned to Rak Cthan, turned in the kobold, and after the free passage of ships had been verified, you collected your gold. And the lizard folk kind of administrator informed you of the story of that the kobold gave him. Seemingly, they were just humble villagers who a giant had stumbled upon and decided to use as a way to get food, basically to do all this hunting for him. And being tiny little kobolds, there wasn't much they could do. At least that's their story. And yeah, I think it was kind of after this you'd got your gold. You did a little bit of shopping, but I think it was that same day where we ended.
I had to leave. I don't know how much gold I should have been given.
Tell you everything about it, split it with you.
It was
Just bars of gold.
three gold bars, each worth 100 gold. We each got.
Nice. I'll add that to my thing.
Yeah, with 100 GP or 5 Imperial Dragons.
Oh, I want a dragon. No, I know that's not the point.
Yeah, 5 of them.
I mean, you possibly might have been paid in dragons, maybe in like Guxton or whatever.
Oh man, Dungeons and Dragons, but actually Dungeons and Dragons are just two forms of currency. An anti-capitalist campaign.
I mean,
We're here to destroy Dungeons and Dragons.
there is no dragon coinage in Gaecia, unfortunately, even though there are dragons in Catania.
We're gonna
But
get so many dragons we can use them as currency.
Anyway, what was I talking about? Yes, so we'd kind of finished off where you're kind of in Rak Cthan, and you were, I believe you're planning to head to Rak Cthan next.
That does indeed seem to be where we need to go next.
We no longer need to go to we have our magic goblet. We can cut our journey short a bit.
Well, we've sent the magic goblet to Eighth Way.
Oh yes, I probably should have mentioned when you awoke the following morning before you got your gold from you would have received a thank you note and a pouch containing a further 750 gold for your goblet Ilganess tin you sent back to
Well, that helps.
Nice.
in the box of transportation. That's not what I called it. What did I call it again? Can't remember. Box of transfer, well, that's it.
That'll be very quickly divvied out into 150 gold each.
Right. So yeah, I guess the question is, what do?
I imagine we were doing all this spoils divvying in the tavern. I think I went out to grab some transcribing materials because my gold bars were heavy.
Yeah, sure.
Although I realized why they were so heavy last week when I put their weight in as the full weight, and then realized I had 5 of them, so it was doing 5 of the full weight. So
Yeah.
fixed that.
Yeah, I just thought you were encumbered because you were, scrawny, not strong.
I'm probably
Okay,
getting there.
fine.
I'm at
Okay.
about 100 pounds of weight, so I'm getting there.
I mean, I don't actually know what my gold stuff weighs.
I think we said it was about 2 pounds each.
2 pounds each per gold
Something
bar.
like that.
Nice.
Yes. So
There we go.
Phoenix did some light shopping. I know you weren't here for the end of last session, Eleanor. I don't know if there's anything.
Yeah, I was not.
Oh, I'll also while I'm out grabbing spell stuff, I'll pick up 20 gold's worth of incense.
Sure. The find familiar incense.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll take a little bit to find a shop that sells the right quality stuff, but yeah, you can definitely do it.
Got all our shopping done. I think we can get out of here and way to Cthan.
Yeah, if there's nothing else we want to do in Rak Cthan, we can move on. So about 45 leagues from Rak Cthan to Rak Cthan. Where is it? Hang on. Yeah, so about 5.5 days travel with you and your cards.
Not too bad.
Do a bit of spell transcribing on the way.
All right. So if you're just happy to get going.
I imagine there's a lot of distance between Phoenix and Arlath on the journey.
Sure.
He is attempting to keep spirits high, but is probably not doing very well with either Phoenix or Arlath. Just, given
I
tensions.
suspect Ash is also quieter than normal.
Talking about, I'm excellent at keeping spirits.
Can you keep them high, though? 'Cause they
Hush,
seem to
Mr.
be.
Grave Cleric.
They seem to be
Quiet,
pretty low to the
quiet.
ground. Normally.
You're a pseudo
Oh no,
grave.
I just find spirits and I hold on to them.
I imagine Arlath's nature skill isn't that high. Can't find the right herbs.
Ancestral Guardians would like to know your location.
My nature is +4. I am actually proficient.
Fair enough. Maybe you do have the
Hang
right
on.
herbs.
So, your Twilight Cleric has more nature proficiency than your Druid did.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Look,
Good.
it's
That
not. It's not Nat's fault that nature is an intelligence and not a wisdom stat.
I had
true.
Of
several.
knowing things is wisdom, not intelligence.
I think things that have to do with druids and clerics should deal with wisdom if that's their casting modifier.
Yes, but if they have
They've
a
got survival.
baseline knowledge of it, that's what proficiency is.
Yeah, that's what
And then
survival.
their ability to know extra things is their intelligence because you're knowing things.
So
Your argument,
Elegor
in
was
my
proficient
opinion,
in
is
survival but
stupid.
not nature. And the way I fluffed this was he knows what will kill you, he does not know what it's called.
He sees it, he'll know it.
Yeah, he's like, that plant will kill you. Don't ask me what it's called, I don't know. But it will kill you if you eat it.
Um,
And that was always my way of approaching it.
Yeah.
Then he died.
anyway,
Medicine should still be an intelligence skill, though.
I think that one's debatable. But I think religion
To be
and
honest.
nature being intelligence is correct.
A lot of the skills are debatable, which is
We're getting
like,
a bit off topic.
Yes. Anyway, so
Us getting off topic? How silly. That doesn't happen.
Can't imagine.
the road is, to put it one way, cold. You are past the winter solstice, but it is still decidedly chilly, especially as you're headed further north. In fact, as you start to ride out of Rak Cthan, you notice a small handful of fat, fluffy snowflakes descending from above. They don't settle. The ground isn't quite cold enough for that, but you imagine things are going to start getting snow on the ground as you head further north, further into winter. Camping, especially, can get quite cold. You need a decent fire to not get frostbite.
Strange
is-
question.
Yes.
How much snow is out in the Badlands? Is it more like a desert area, or is it more just like plains?
It's probably closer to a tundra. So, if we're bringing it back to the map, it's not strictly this. So, Gaecia isn't strictly the same as our world, where definitively north is definitively colder. The coldest point is probably the Ogorn, but that's kind of because they're North Mountains, and then the kind of hot cold divine is more on this kind of slant. So the Badlands is generally approximately the same as the northern bit of Cathania. And obviously this foresty bit right at the top is colder. So yeah, in general, as I say, it's tundra and probably generally colder.
Okay. So snow is not like an unfamiliar.
No, not at all. Not
Okay.
I mean, I have to imagine if we are camping outside and it is full on snowing, we're probably using Arlath's bubble.
Oh, Aleph will set it up, but spends is the last to sleep, just spending time staring out into the snow because that's familiar and it's homely to him.
I mean,
will
the
correct you
Gandaroy
in-
Prawns doesn't have snow all year round, whereas the Elgons, they're permanently snow on their peaks. But you definitely do get snow, so it's not completely alien.
I'll say Gareth would be the last to sleep because he
No,
doesn't.
you
You're
don't
not the-
sleep.
He's
There's
not
a
the last to
difference.
sleep if he doesn't sleep, sure.
Yeah, not sleeping doesn't mean you're the last to sleep. Like not showing
He's
up
the-
means you're the
okay,
last
he's
to
the
arrive.
last awake.
That's true.
I'm sure he's the first awake, because
Gareth just
awake
is
the
awake.
He's the last
Oh,
one
true.
awake and the
I-
first one awake.
I genuinely I consider that invocation a curse. 24/7 consciousness? No, thank you.
I think, as proved like last time, because Gareth did sleep last time. It's like you can sleep,
Just don't need to.
you just don't need to.
Oh yeah, but
It's
even
kind of like
having
with
the
elf
option,
strength,
I'm
as
just
I
like,
say, elves
no,
can
don't
sleep.
want it.
They just don't always. Anyway, we're getting
Sleep
off
is a
topic.
Give me the
blessing.
cool laser beams instead.
It's like the whole what the fuck do elves do while everyone else is asleep? Like
Uh,
there's just some elf spending 4 hours, I don't know, knitting. Like
I
They
mean,
revel.
yeah.
Knitting,
Um,
reading, writing. You know.
Anyway, as you wake
elf
up
shit.
on your first way on the road to Rak Cthan, I mean, yeah, you would have watched this happen, but there is a thin layer now of snow over the ground. There's kind of a ring around your campfire that it's not on, so it's not like on you and your sleeping bags, but around everything else, there is a layer of snow. Phoenix.
How used to snow is Ash?
Again, you're from the Badlands, so again, tundra. There's probably a decent amount of snow in the winter. Not all year round, but in the winter, definitely. Yes,
Nice.
Phoenix. As you awake, you open your eyes, and you see, kind of in line with your head, a wrapped box. You recognize it immediately as the gift you were given when you had your tea party with the gods.
Very funny, Gareth.
Sorry, what? Oh, that wasn't me. Did I have seen it appear anywhere? Anyhow?
You weren't looking, so no.
Fair enough. No, I've just been sat here all night.
I mean, no one came into camp to move it. You're fairly sure of that.
Just absolutely
Gods.
push it out of the bubble.
God's work in mysterious ways, Fennec.
So did you say you chucked it?
Just absolutely push it out of the bubble.
Push it. In your head, you hear a whimpering, almost kind of like a dog.
Again, look at Yareth. Go, stop that.
Don't know what you're talking about. I'm just sat here reading.
I'm watching you.
By all means.
Goodness.
Fleet is probably about getting up to start doing an hour of morning training.
Sure.
Ash is fairly a morning person, I think. Ash is happily up and, I don't know, taking care of weapons and stuff, I guess, maybe.
I imagine
Sharpening some stuff.
Gareth probably put like a pot of porridge or whatever kind of on the fire. As it was getting around to the time before people would be getting up, so you can all have some lovely gruel to wake up to.
Gareth doesn't sleep. Gareth is our chef.
Yeah, by default.
Cries in chef feet.
Look, if you want to wake up early and cook, be my guest.
No, I'm a Twilight cleric. I'm late to sleep, late to rise.
The Twilight Cleric, not the Dawn Cleric. What are you, a madman?
Yeah. Bleh, stinky dawn.
Yes. You start out again. The snow kind of melts by about midday. But on your second morning on the road, it is back a lot thicker. Yareth, you watch it go now. It's a lot bigger, fatter flakes. You imagine this snow is doing its very darndest to stay for a while. Especially if it snows again, tomorrow night or whatever. It might make your journey a bit slower, because especially getting your carts through the road and stuff. Hopefully not too much unless it gets really bad. But yes, Phoenix, you open your eyes with a wrapped gift right there.
This time he nudges it out with his foot.
What's the harm in opening it, Yareth? Yareth? No, that's me. What's the harm in opening it, Phoenix?
Yareth's already opened it.
That's very true. I forgot about that. What's the harm in opening it?
Opening it is accepting it.
No, it's not.
Said from the start, you're more than welcome to it.
It's not how it works. I couldn't use ashes or fleets. Oh, fine. And Yareth will go over to the box, bring it back in, and just open it.
All right. As you watch Yareth kind of unwrap it.
He's not watching, he's gone back to his spell book. He's just writing in it.
Sure. Well, the rest of you, you will see that it seems to be a book, very similar to the one Phoenix is ignoring it with. It seems to be made out of quite nice leather, simple but elegant designs. There's no kind of name on it. It's kind of a nice little tie thing, so you can tie each cover together. Seems pretty well made.
It's a book.
It's a very nice book.
I flick through it.
Pages all seem to be blank.
It's a notebook.
It's a spell book.
Well, shouldn't there be spells in it?
Well, not if it's a new one. Not if the person it's meant for hasn't used it yet.
Well, then it is just a notebook. That you could choose to put spells in.
There's some special paper that you have to use for spellbooks, so it's a bit nicer than that.
It's a really fucking nice spellbook. Notebook, Ash. It would be used as a spellbook.
Well, if Phoenix doesn't want it, I can put some recipes in it.
Be my guest.
For some reason, I have a feeling that the ink won't stick, but I'll pass it to Ash.
You
He starts writing down a
hand it
recipe for
out.
deer stew.
You hand it out towards Ash, and Ash, as you reach your hand out towards it, everybody hears a "Rrrr," very much like an angry dog.
Okay.
Whoa.
Aleth just sort of chuckles and then goes back to absently watching the snow.
It's not snowing right now. It only snowed overnight.
Oh, then he closes his eyes and looks at the snow in
Sure.
his mind.
As far as
He
I've
has-
heard of, books don't bark.
No, they don't.
Your recipe book sounds defective.
Your spellbook doesn't want to be used by someone that's not you.
My spellbook's perfectly fine. He'll heft the one in his hands.
Just put it on the ground next to Phoenix.
All right.
Well, it didn't bark again, so I think it likes that.
Okay.
Surprisingly argumentative for a book.
You get on and carry on. The snow isn't quite thick enough to impede your progress today. Yes, you have a relatively easy, albeit cold, day's travel. I don't usually need to RP every single one of these, but each morning the snow will be a little thicker, and Phoenix, you awake to the book staring at you almost. If it had eyes, it would be staring at you.
It's so petty, I love it.
It's like
It's petty in two ways.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
As you
it's
go
like the
to-
last dog at the pound going, "Pick me."
Yeah, it's always as you go to like put it in a bag or chuck it away, you will always hear the like a kicked puppy almost.
Oh my god.
Alright, Phoenix,
Phoenix,
this is the fourth day
The
in a row I've
notebook is
seen...
adorable.
Phoenix, this is the fourth day in a row I've seen this book be next to you in the morning. I gotta know, what does not using it do for you?
Using it as tacit acceptance of the gift. I don't want it. I don't want the gift. I don't want the meaning behind the gift.
I don't think it's going to go away, so you might as well get used to the damn thing. It's
I
going
don't
to
know.
annoy you anyway. Surely you should get something out of it.
I have experience in ignoring very annoying things.
Ow.
Alath will let out another chuckle.
I think I agree with Ash. This book doesn't seem to be going away.
Good for it.
Even if you could use it to your own ends and it could help you do incredible things, you'd better at doing whatever you want to do. Still won't take it?
Not if it's because of them.
I'm not sure if it is because of them. It's from them, but I think it's because of you.
That's certainly one way to look at it.
Well, I hope you see it less as annoying and more as a path forward. An option, at the very least.
Right. Day will dawn on the fifth day of your travel, much in the same way as it did on the previous ones. The thickness of the snow definitely slowed you down a bit. Instead of kind of half a day's travel you probably got most of the days ahead of you before you reach the city, but yeah, that's part of the course of traveling at this time of year. So you push on through the snow, through the cold, till eventually you crest a hill. And before you see laid out the city of the Rak Cthan. Now, has anybody been here before?
No.
Only heard
Definitely
stories.
All right. So there's a new site to all of you. Your first impression is you swear it's on top of some sort of hill or mountain, until you realize that's not a hill, at least not in the traditional sense. The stone is too smooth, too regular. This city, this fortress, has been built on top of some sort of man-made mountain of solid stone. It's decidedly imposing. You hear stories of Rak Cthan being the impenetrable city, and looking at it, you kind of believe it. As you wander
That's
in,
pretty
it's
cool.
almost difficult not to be taken in with awe. Your mind think back to all the facts, all the stories you've heard about the city. It's often referred to as the birthplace of civilization. The city that stood about 500 years before any other city was made. You remember the fact that in some cavern deeper beneath the city, there lies, in perpetual slumber, the eldest god, Tuthok, father of dragons.
Cool.
Some of you can almost swear you feel a hum or just some vibration of power.
It's big.
So many people.
Yeah.
Imposingly so.
I mean, I'd heard stories, but
Ash just like looks like a kid in a candy shop. She has never even processed that there might be this many people anywhere.
Oh yeah. I
It's
don't have a
about the
number,
same.
but it's a lot.
our two country bumpkins are in shock of the big city.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's probably approximately as many people live in this city as possibly even all the orc tribes in the plateau.
Heck.
That's probably not much of an exaggeration.
Ash is like properly mind blown, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, can't go up like tourists for too long. We are here for a reason.
Right. We've got things to do.
Ironically, a book to find.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not the one that's been following us?
Do you want to send it through the chest?
I mean, it might get it away from you.
Sure.
If that's what you want.
I'm pretty sure Thranrak's observations of the unseen isn't a blank spellbook.
What if it's written
I
in
know,
invisible
It
ink?
might not be blank. It could be invisible ink. Yeah.
If it's observations
There's
of the
a-
unseen, it could be invisible
Yeah.
ink.
There's only one way to find out. You need to attune to it, and then see if it comes.
That does sound like the kind of thing I do, doesn't it?
You're probably
Just
the
give
only
you
one
the
who
book
can.
you're looking for all along, but written in invisible ink. Yeah.
Fenix,
There will be-
absently reaches out, grabs the book wherever it's been sitting, resting, the bag it's in, lifts it up, casts Identify.
Does not work. This is a
not the
unique
book.
object. Identify does not work on unique objects.
It's not the book.
What are you casting on?
The spellbook.
Yeah, it doesn't work on the spellbook.
But he says that out loud. He says,
Oh, right.
Not
Okay.
book.
Sorry. I thought you were asking me. Sorry.
Fair enough.
Well, it was worth a try.
Identify wouldn't work on just like a textbook either. You would be aware anyway. It's a magic items.
yes. But it would tell me if it was something else. Or if there was a spell affecting it, like invisibility.
Yeah, you get the impression it's definitely magical. It's just not magic of the kind the spell can identify.
Probably not. Never mind.
Anyway, as you march in through a handful of gates, like 2 or 3, so kind of you got the gatehouse and you got the like bridge over towards the city, and then there'll be like another one kind of halfway up the man-made mountain. Each one you'll kind of notice guards have these curious kind of almost crystals kind of embedded in kind of like their breastplates, and kind of about fist-sized. They're in a range of colours. It's done to be almost sapphire coloured or ruby coloured, but something kind of pure and white. I would like the educated people, so Phoenix and Yareth, to make me history or arcana, and then anybody else can make me just history.
Can I make an attempt
Well,
because I hung out
It'll
with?
be a higher DC for the uneducated people.
I think they've got it.
Nope.
I hung out with educated people. Maybe I'll know. No idea.
All right. Yeah.
Fairly
so,
conclusive from both of us. Country bumpkins.
yeah, it's just a curious fashion statement to Ash and Fleet. But Yareth and Phoenix, you'd be aware that these are what are known as lodestones. In the caverns around where Tufok dwells, the stone, just the natural stone, over time slowly turns into these crystals. They are quite magically charged, but only when they're kind of within the general vicinity of the city. They get too far away from, presumably Tufok, they lose their power. And they're almost used as a pseudo electricity. It's not quite the same. It's not nearly that advanced, but it is almost a power source. Large ones can be used to power like furnaces for like smitheries, things like that. But these smaller ones that are kind of on the guards' chests, they basically give the guards magical powers. They're basically like mini Eldritch Knights, and they can cast spells like hold person or whatever. And so they are quite effective. Rak Cthan is almost certainly the safest city, crime-wise, in Gaecia, by probably a fairly significant margin. Even you guys probably wouldn't want to get into a fight with these guards. They're pretty nasty, especially these ones at the gates. They'll be some of the higher trained ones. Your Bobby on the corner, possibly a bit less so. But some of these more, impressive ones, there'll be about 10 you can see at these gatehouses, and there'll probably be more, upstairs, on break or whatever. But yeah, this is not a city to cause trouble in.
Welcome to Rak Cthan, the most backward city in the world, where the gate guards are the most dangerous.
Yes, I said they have pseudo-electricity, so they're the most backward civilization in the world. That's how it works.
I didn't say backward civilization, I said backward city.
Oh, yes.
Gate guards should not be the dangerous ones.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Yes. However, kind of juxtaposed almost to the impressive guards. You'll hear kind of crier, kind of at the kind of inner gate, so the one right before you get to the actual proper city, so the one that's not on this picture. It'll be like up here or something. And they will be warning people, new visitors, that certain whales in the city are seemingly kind of infected, and that to not visit the ones with kind of a red
Sounds like a
handkerchief
plot hook
tied
to
around
me.
them, as they are making people ill, basically.
Oh, I'll hop up to one of these criers if they are not surrounded by a crowd and just ask, what kind of illness are we talking about here?
What? It's kind
Do-
of little cobalt.
Do you know what kind of illness they're talking about with the whales?
Makes people sick. Gives them kind of
Most
boils.
illnesses do.
Warts. Sorry, I've got to get back. And you start
Oh,
shouting
sorry.
the message over again.
Oils and warts. Unusual.
Yeah. So, you carry on in. You have entered the oldest city in Gaecia. What to do?
Find a Merryfall Tavern, I think. First step.
I imagine since this is Rak Cthan, it will be the Merryfall Tavern.
Probably the first.
The was in what's it called? Eighth Way, because it's Merryfall was a human.
Ah. I've already been to the nicest one. It's only downhill
You
from
have.
there.
You've already been to the original.
We've been to the original. It's not necessarily the nicest.
Yeah, it
Oh, yeah.
could be the nicest one. We
It
don't know.
was pretty nice.
Let's find our Merryfall Association Tavern and drop off our thing.
Sure. So yeah, much like in Rak Cthan, there will be a decent number of maps, kind of telling people where to go. So I'm trying to find it in my notes. The Rak Cthan branch is called the. Oh, it's not loading. Give me a second.
About what sort of time did we arrive in the city?
Kind of not quite evening, so maybe like 5. It's probably getting dark because it's winter this far north. But yeah, it's about that time. It is known as the Singing Whelk.
Interesting name for a tavern so far inland.
24 taverns generally have interesting names.
Well, that was out
Whelk.
loud. It's a kind of shellfish.
It's a hole with water in the ground.
I think that's a whale.
That's a well. Oh, yes.
No, a whelk is it's like a clam.
Can't say I've ever seen one before.
Sticks to boats. They're real annoyances.
It does sound annoying.
You kind of head in. It is decidedly large. It's probably the biggest one you've been into, but this is the biggest city, so it kind of makes sense.
Understandable.
As usual, you'll kind of find the mix of people. There'll be all sorts of races represented here. There even seem to be a number of people who seem to be at least workers for kind of more wealthy individuals, such as traveling merchants, it seems perhaps this might be a favoured tavern in the city, or in the city to stay out for these kind of people, as opposed to more traditional, merchant like hotels or whatever. And yeah, as I say, it is quite large, kind of based on the size of the building. There's got to be 50 odd rooms here. Presumably, some of them quite nice, if they're housing merchants, kind of rich merchants in them. You kind of approach the bar. It is a gold dragonborn who appears to be tending it. Greetings. It's nice to see you in Rak Cthan. Can I do anything for you?
I think we're looking for a couple of rooms.
Dolums?
How many do we want, fellas?
Oh, I don't mind sharing, as you know.
Well, if
How much are they?
It depends what room you want. Do you want, a box with a bed in, something a bit nicer, or a grand suite?
a grand suite?
Yes.
No.
grand-
We are not going to be able to afford that, please. Come on. I know we probably can. That's not the point.
How much for a regular single?
Your regular single will set you back 8 silver, but meals will be included. Morning and evening.
I imagine we'll be here for a while. I'll pay up a week.
Sure. For how many rooms?
A regular single.
I think we can we manage with 3, or do we want to go for 4? I know Ash and I will be sharing a room, but... Phoenix? Gareth, do you mind sharing?
If it's all right with either Phoenix or
Olaf.
Ala, thank you. I'm fine sharing with either.
Sure. How much for a regular?
Sorry, how many?
I think we're doing 2 double rooms and a single room.
2 double rooms and a single room. There'll also be 8 silver per person, so 16 silver for the night, I suppose, for the double.
Fair enough.
Out
So
of
if you're having
sheer
3
curiosity,
rooms with 5 people, it will be 5 times 42. The dungeon master should be able to do this in his head. 210 silver or 21 gold for a week.
Phoenix will slap down 5 gold, 6 silver.
We will put down 10 gold.
Okay. Still missing about 5 gold, give or
Yeah.
take.
4 gold
I'll
and
put
change.
down.
Right, is everybody paying for their own? Or are we
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
fiddling
How
around? with
how
it?
much is it
So
again?
it'd be 4 gold, 2 silver each, if everyone paid for
Oh.
themselves for a week.
5 gold, 6 silver.
7 times 8 is... Yes, I think it's 7 times 6. Yeah, so... Yes, 52 silver. I can maths.
56.
Yeah. So it's 5 gold, 6 silver each. Alright, fair enough.
out of sheer curiosity, how much is a grand suite per night?
For one
Sure.
night, it is 5 gold.
Oof.
But you can add all sorts of places on if you want, hot bath, servants, find the meals. That is
You
just
get
for
many
the
takers
room.
on that one?
Pardon?
You get many takers on that one?
Yeah, we have enough to get them filled most of the time. We have 1 suite spare at the moment. We have 4.
We've also got some horses to stable.
Of course. How many?
3.
3 horses for like 6 more gold.
I can cover
ante up.
that.
I'll ante up for the horses.
Alright. It'll be another hour or so before food is starting to be served. Tonight, we have a selection of roasted meats, all served with vegetables, potatoes, and gravy. If you have any special dietary requirements, we can try to get that, sorted. I
It's
will
not
take that as a
acceptable.
no.
I don't think there are any.
All right. So, thank you all very much for choosing the singing whelk. We are honored by your custom. You want a drink or are you heading out?
I'm happy
Nothing for me.
I'm happy to stay for a little bit.
I'm not. I don't mind too much either way. Personally.
I do want to hop into the room real quick because I've got to check something quick.
Of course. You'll kind of pull open the drawer, get out some keys and hand them over to you.
Thank you,
Kind
and
of
Fleet will just
heavy lead things.
very quickly skip up to the room and lock the door behind her.
All right. Easily enough done.
While I'm in there, Fleet's going to change into her very pretty dress because nice city seems like the right occasion. She's also going to open the letter that she has from Althea.
Do you have pretty dress?
I do. I carry it with me.
All right, cool.
The nice
Just
tailored
making
one
sure.
that we have.
Oh yes, of course I remember now. Yeah.
Finally opened this letter from Althea because God, I need some guidance on how to deal with these two.
All right, sure. You putting that up on stream or?
I remember Nat saying that it was Magic Mouth, and I hope that Nat has it prepared because I've sort of sprung this on him without any warning.
Right, so as soon as you open it, it will just read it out. I believe how the spell works. You don't need it prepared.
Magic Mouth. It's an expensive letter.
Yeah, well, Nat didn't need that money anymore.
Buddy?
Is Nat alive?
Nat is MIA. Appears muted. Oh yeah, while Fleet's doing that, is
I
anybody else
forgot I
doing
was muted!
Welcome
I forgot I was muted!
back,
I've
Nat.
read it out twice now.
Sure.
God, amazing.
Well, third time's the charm.
Right.
The
Fleet,
delivery had better be perfect, mate.
I didn't ever think I'd meet someone as friendly as myself, let alone more so. Keep your heart strong. You'll always be family. Althea.
Oh.
It's just gonna hold up that note, holding back tears, and just hang out for a minute, clean up before coming back downstairs.
While
So is anybody else doing anything else?
while Fleet was gone, I'd be finding the map, the closest kind of city map. I don't know if it's inside or outside the tavern. The Rak Cthan.
There'll be one kind of along one wall in the tavern.
Yeah, I'll just be up, examining that, memorizing it. If there's any points of interest on the map, or if it just kind of shows the general layout of the city and where the tavern is in relation.
So this one is a bit different to kind of the default ones all around. It's kind of tailored more towards, what people who frequent these kind of taverns might be interested in. So it has the Merryfall Tavern on. It does feature, obviously, the main points of interest, being the Imperial Palace, the Cathedral to Tuthok, places like that, and then various other administration.
I have a really important question for you, Ferret.
Yes.
Does it have an obnoxiously large "You are here" arrow?
I mean, it kind of has the street where
I'm
the
taking that
tavern's
as a
on.
yes.
It's kind
There
of
was a
got the
hesitation.
tavern.
I'm taking it as a yes.
It's got like a nice calligraphy tavern that's kind of most of the map is top down with it, it's side on, and it's got the name, the singing well kind of in that banner, form underneath like what you get like the bottom, like coats of arms and stuff. So almost, it's not like an arrow that says you are here, but it's
Good enough.
Not
What
a
are
beautiful blue
agency
arrow.
advertised.
What are the city's points of interest as far as the Merryfall Association is concerned?
So as I said, you got the palace, the cathedral, various like guilds, administration buildings. There's also kind of a theatre, things like that.
Library?
There's no library, but there is a magic guild or arcane guild.
Main market or shopping district?
Yeah, there'll be a couple of like kind of market hubs. There's about 3 main ones. There's kind of one inside the quote unquote imperial compound. It seems there's kind of a sort of wall around, but Evelyn you probably know that wall is more of a suggestion than an actual wall.
And is the city
there's a
divided up? Are there districts or boroughs?
So yeah, as I said, it's kind of the imperial court. What do they just call it? Quarter. There you go. Where there's a lot of the imperial running of the empire stuff happens. That's also where a lot of the guilds are located. In terms of other districts, there's kind of a north half of the city and a south half of the city. So the other two markets will be the north market and the south market. But beyond that, it's not strict districts, not that you can see.
So there's a sort of three-way division then. So there's an imperial quarter, a north quarter, a south quarter, and a missing quarter.
Sort of. The kind of overlap between the north half, I guess, is probably more accurate than the south half is kind of vague, kind of the east and western points. But yeah. For reference, the gate to the city comes up directly south, due south. And there's kind of a main road that leads from that all the way to the Imperial Palace.
And what's kind of in the north quarter? Just from the position of various buildings, like the theatre and stuff, do I get the feeling that like the north might be richer and the south is a bit poorer, or is there any kind of divide that I could make out?
I think we'll call that maybe appropriate. We'll call it a charisma check, and you can add your history bonus, I think.
So proficiency charisma.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's +3, +1, so +4.
I mean, because there's only one entrance to the city, which is directly in the south, there's a lot of things that rely on more frequent interchange, I guess. We kind of occur in the south quarter, and then kind of in the north half is probably more accurate than quarter. There's kind of stuff that's more cemented, so that there's more industry, like permanent industry that happens up there. Whereas stuff like the theatre will kind of be more in the south half. In terms of this is the richer bit of the city, you imagine that's got to be the imperial compound.
So it's kind of north is industry and permanent buildings, south is tourist and trade. Okay.
In the most general terms.
I'm guessing it's kind of the vibe. This is not a city that has had a huge amount of city planning done. It's just that old that it's everything is where it fits, kind of
London,
thing.
In a way.
Cool.
They've tried to fit in what they can on this mountain they've made.
So it's the least Cathanian, biggest Cathanian city.
It's the least most Cathanian, definitely-ish city.
Yeah.
My head hurts from hearing that.
No, that's London.
Yeah.
It's the most least British city in the world.
Yes.
Oof.
You're welcome, Britty.
Okay, so while Phoenix is studying the map, making notes or whatever, what's everybody else doing? Fleet's, crying.
Gareth
Try
will-
not to cry.
So Red crying.
Gareth will probably try and go to his room, which whether he's sharing with Fleet or Arlath, I don't know. Not Fleet. And
I'd
it's
assume propriety would dictate to boys and girls, but I don't want to make that decision for definite.
yeah. Well, it's either with Phoenix or Arlath. Don't know. But he will go there and probably just set some of his site stuff up that he doesn't necessarily need. Let the flump out probably for the first time in the 5 days.
Well, you've no idea it's called a flump, but yeah, you can let it out.
Okay.
That's the
I will
player
let
saying
the-
the flump, not the
Gareth will
character.
let the weird creature out.
Yeah.
Letting the flump out sounds a bit like letting out a fart you've been holding in for too long.
Oh no!
Of course it does to you, Nat.
Just a little
Um,
jump.
Yeah, this
not
curious little
silent.
creature will kind of wriggle and stretch out of the belt buckle. It'll kind of just float near you. You'll kind of hear a happy noise in your head as it kind of floats, going kind of expelling gases from its lower half.
Come on!
That's what the
Nice.
monster manual says. That's what it says
It
it
makes
does.
it too easy.
That's why it's called a flump, because the note it makes.
Out of its lower half.
I could have got my whole life and never known that.
I mean,
So
Oh, well.
thanks.
that's what you get for not studying the monster manual. Come on, you've got a test in 2 weeks' time.
I
Oh,
don't
God.
own one. Piss off.
So you've got the flump
let's be
from
honest.
the Yareth.
Let's be honest here, Ferret. Do you really want players who study the monster manual?
I mean, I have
Barry
played
just wants
regularly
me
doing
to
I
study
play in games
something.
where I have, as long as the DMs change stuff and keep it interesting.
I
doesn't
mean,
matter too much.
Lumie is legitimately the only player I've ever heard of who's actually been tricked by a bag of devouring.
Yes, I did not know what one was, and my character died. It was epic.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Anyway.
that was a good day.
Yes, you've got this flump ahead of you. It's kind of looking at you with kind of curiosity and liking, like it likes you. Friendship. There you go.
Hey, buddy.
I like that that's such a foreign word to you, buddy.
Alright.
Hey, buddy, creaturey dude. Do you mind being in the bottle for so long?
Going to get a sense of almost take it or leave it kind of thing.
Okay, wonderful. Just
It-
hang around for a bit until we
safe
leave.
in the buckle.
That's fair enough. And Yareth will just sit down on the bed and also pull out a letter from Claire. Don't open it immediately, just sort of fiddles around with it for a moment.
Am I missing something? Did we all get letters from out there?
Did.
She gave
Yes.
everyone a magic mouth letter.
Yeah.
When?
When I left.
She left.
I also missed this information. I didn't know we all had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
She went and spent all of her gold on the material components for it.
Oh, what a sweetie.
okay.
Pretty sure you said that at the time.
Yeah.
And he will fiddle around with it for a moment before, if there's a seal, breaking it.
Mhm.
And then we'll open it.
Gareth, I'm sorry to leave after having only just met, but I'm sure Yareth Dimbuckle is the best Yareth out there. Keep being you, Althea.
Just close it. The one of his clasps, doesn't really care which, opens it, offers it to the flump, offers it to the creature. You want any of this?
Kind of tendrils will kind of move, but it doesn't take anything.
Cool. I don't know if you got a. Do you have a mouth?
It's got this mouth thing, kind of in between the eye stalks.
Okay, I don't know whether you can drink anyway, and he'll just down whichever flask it is.
Sure. It seems to intake air through the top and then flump it out the bottom.
Really enjoying this, aren't you, Ferret?
Alright. So yes.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
That was the whiskey flask.
Alright. Con save, please. You almost stop to, start coughing at the kind of, as it burns down your throat, but you keep going and you manage to get it all down.
Power through.
Hey, you want to meet some people? Let's go. And without come on, meet the family.
There's almost nerves at going, down into, the parlor room that's full of people.
If you really don't want to go in front of a bunch of strangers, you can meet with the family at a quieter environment. How about that then?
Oh my god, you've got a flump with anxiety.
It sends you the sensation of being hit with something hard and long, presumably some sort of stick. But then it gives you a sense of trust.
We've rescued an abused flump. How did this happen?
Oh, Gareth has.
I fucking went to work and I come back and you've started the Gaecia home for maltreated flumps.
I mean, the flump found Yareth, I think, is what happened.
Ah, the flump chooses the wizard.
Orlog.
No, definitely wizard.
Yeah, I thought he's obviously not a warlock. Don't be silly.
We'll introduce you at the right time.
You to make the decision.
Okay, we'll introduce you when the time's right. Do you want to go back in?
And it'll flump towards you, and then you do that weird stretching, distending until it's absorbed into wherever on Earth on Gaecia it goes when it goes inside your belt buckle. You still feel the sensation of it somewhere in your head. You've gotten used to it, over the time you've had to travel, but it's still weird when you think about it.
Oh yeah. We'll then put the flask to his lips and just, oh yeah, I forgot. Oh, let's go and get a drink, and we'll go down and meet with the rest of the party.
Sure. Okay. So you are all reunited after your various map and letter expeditions. Ash and I'll have just been drinking during this time, or what?
I mean,
Probably.
Ash couldn't go up to her room because Fleet was in there with the door locked. So
Sure.
You have a key. You could have walked in.
Ash has just been chilling. Yeah, but it would be rude. Honestly, come on.
And also, think of the psychic damage you would deal the repressed gay country bumpkin if she opened the door to see Fleet in a dress.
Fleet's coming down in a dress. Fleet's coming down in her dress.
Oh god, poor Ash! I hadn't even thought of that.
On come the nosebleeds.
I mean, you're just chilling at the bar when Fleet, in this pretty nice dress, descends. I would say
Ash
she
chokes on
seems
her drink.
new to the heels, but her natural grace, carries her through it. Right, any mishaps?
Phoenix
Yeah,
walks back
Ash
over.
chokes on her drink.
So
Sure.
no library that I could. That's a new look for you, Fleet.
Yeah,
Phoenix chokes on his drink.
wanted to give it a try. Big fancy city seemed the right time.
Sure. Like I was saying, no kind of library I could spot, given the nature of the book we're looking for. Probably best to check in with the local Wizards Guild.
Magic people? A magic book? No, couldn't be.
Well, book about magic.
If they don't have it, they probably know where it is. Alright, let me scooch over. Let me get a seat. Heels are killer. Why do people wear these?
No idea.
I really think you're asking the wrong group.
Probably not really having much. Barkeep. Probably not having much experience with the concept of heels in general. Arthur's just sort of thinking, like, I could be even taller with heels.
Oh my god, please, can I get some heels?
Hey,
But
they were originally for men. They were riding. They were for stability in stirrups.
Which makes me laugh because the idea of riding a horse in heels makes my whole body cringe.
Not the heels you wear now, but certainly heels.
Yeah, no, I know.
Kind of like, the little dress heel, I think. Like, we still got on, like, men's shoes that are stupid.
Riding boots still have those.
Yeah.
So, we've got a bit of time before death.
Well, was there anything else on the map that seemed exciting besides, the Wizards Guild?
Few places. Cthanian cities aren't exactly known for their tourist traps. I mean,
But you shouldn't trap tourists, they're essential to the economy.
not the Cthanian economy, but we'll address that later.
strangely insightful
People
for
generally
half orc.
aren't rich enough to support tourism as a concept in the
That was
economy.
terrible.
I'm so sorry, except I'm not at all.
What's the English word? Lumie's chuffed at that pun. Am I using
I
that
am
correctly?
chuffed. Well done, Britty.
Yay, I'm learning.
You're also gruntled, aren't you, Lumie?
That just sounds dirty.
The opposite of gruntled.
I'm always gruntled.
Sure, Urashi is gruntled.
Gruntled, pleased, satisfied, or contented.
Yeah, it's the opposite of disgruntled.
Yeah,
I guess.
it's such a disgusting way to tell someone that they're cheerful. Like, if you walk up to someone and they're
rather
like, "Oh, you're
gruntled
looking
today."
gruntled today," they're like, "What? What did you say?" It's like, "You look gruntled. You've got a glow about you."
I think it's just because it sounds like grundle.
Grundle is a word.
Yeah, it is a word, definitely. But yeah, so you're in your tavern.
So what's the plan? Do we head out?
Well, where would we go? Do we want to check out the Wizard's Guild tonight or check them out tomorrow?
I mean, if I know wizards, there's always a few burning the midnight oil. There'll be someone up. Main offices might not be open, but we can certainly inquire. Find out if we're even on the right track here.
Yeah, why not?
You're also told to find a man named Asharak by the goddess while you're in Rak Cthan, just to remind people.
Yes, but that is a name. We need a place to ask about a name.
I don't think we want to just be asking
to be
any.
fair.
We probably don't want to just be asking any old random barkeep about a name that we know literally nothing about.
Sure. Okay, so you're making your way to the Arcane Guild.
Sure, let's do that.
All right.
The party smart boys seem to think it's a good idea, so I guess
Sure.
it must be.
It's
I opened it up to the forum.
Yeah, it's a short-ish walk. It's about 15-20 minutes from the Merryfall Tavern to kind of get just within kind of the Imperial compound. Yeah, as I say, it's the wall kind of separating off the Imperial compound is more of a suggestion than an actual practical wall. It's kind of two 3 feet high. It's kind of thing you could easily just vault. But it seems kind of significant. Very much like you're passing from one world to another. Kind of the streets, kind of on the general city side of the wall, are so much busier than the ones inside. People are generally walking at a more sedate pace, and there will even be a handful of carriages kind of trotting, from place to place. And the quality of clothing definitely takes a bit of a hike as you cross this wall. There'll be a couple of guards who will ask your business in the Imperial compound before you enter.
We're making inquiries at the local arcane guild.
Can't just nod and let you through.
Oh, that was easier than I expected.
Most of the time,
yeah.
people, if they believe you, think you're honest, they tend to pretty chill.
Also,
Good to know.
wizards need business too. They're not going to just turn people away on principle.
To be honest, I was expecting a little bit more caution and paperwork. I don't know.
And you're just heading into the Imperial section of the city. You're not actually heading to the Imperial Palace. You imagine there'll be a lot more security there.
Most cities wouldn't even stop you for that. This is extra red tape.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, you kind of make your way in. As it's a short-ish walk to kind of the Guild of Arcane Studies, is how it's properly known. As you kind of walk up to the gate, there will be a bored-looking kobold kind of there to greet you, kind of head resting against his one little hand, kind of, generally disinterested.
Hi there. Is the guild open for business or inquiries?
You have an appointment.
Can we make an appointment?
I guess. Who you want to speak to?
Do you have anything resembling a librarian or an archivist?
Basically, everyone is a librarian.
Then basically anyone will do.
You're looking to get into the library. Is that it?
We're looking to inquire after a book you may or may not have.
Do you know the name of this book?
Thranrak's Observations of the Unseen.
He almost sighs before he reaches out for a quill and takes a note of your book.
Might I have your name?
Phoenix White.
Where
No,
you?
with a Y.
Do you have any idea where you live or stay somewhere we can get back to you?
Temporary residence at the Singing Welk.
Alright. Unlikely anyone get back to you today, but at some point, kind of shrugs.
Is the library open for visitors?
If you're accompanied. Most likely, if you're after a specific book, we'll get back to an appointment with, some sort of junior wizard or whatever who'll just stay around you to make sure you don't burn anything down. Obviously, if you're after something a bit more obscure, then you might have to meet with the chief librarian or whatever.
Sounds like a thrilling job. Guild offer any services?
We're a magic guild. We offer magic services.
All right. Thank you for your time. I'll be waiting for your correspondence.
Okay.
Do you happen to know, where is the book we're after exactly? If you know.
I know
If you
the
don't know, problem.
foggiest.
Okay.
I
Wonderful.
just sit here, wait for people to come. I know nothing about what's in the library.
Okay. No problem.
While we are here, was there a man named Asharak working here?
There's like 1,000 people. I don't know everyone's names.
Do you know an Asharak?
No.
Thank you.
Hang on. Specifically after a wizard? Or just someone named Asharak?
I'm afraid our sources were rather vague in that regard, but considering why we're here, a wizard named Asharak would probably be a good shout.
Well, there's no wizard. But there's someone on the Council of 10 who, he was in the news or something.
Council of 10.
Can't remember he's, recently elected or dismissed, something like that. I don't pay much attention to that kind of politics. Council of 10, well, they're officially known as the Advisory Council, Wardens of the Steward. You got several names. Most people call them Council of 10 because there's 10 of them. Ostensibly one for each colour of Dragonborn, although they don't really stick to that nowadays. They're the Warden King's chief advisors. They're also the group of people who pick the next one when the old one dies.
I could think of worse ways to do it. Thanks for your help.
And how does one get in contact with a member of the Council of 10?
First of all, you probably want some sort of noble rank.
How does one get a message to a member of the Council of 10?
If you're desperate, I guess go to the Imperial Palace, convince a guard that you're serious enough and you're not sending him a rude note, and then pray to all the gods you can think of.
We can think of a few.
More than a few.
Unfortunately. Thank you for your help.
If I may ask one last question regarding our book, since it's one that you may need the answer to. If it's less of a wanting to just read and more of a wanting to have, is that a service you also offer?
I mean, there's all sorts of junior wizards who are, when they're learning to read and write, spend their time copying books. Sometimes it's used as a punishment, even for the older students.
Yeah, so they might have
So-
extra copies.
Generally done. As I say, if it's particularly rare, that's something I have to discuss with the chief librarian, because not all books are for general copying.
Wonderful. Just thought I'd cross that bridge now. Thank you.
All right.
Well, we have no further business. Thank you for your time.
Okay. Kind of goes back, puts his head back on his hand, kind of just eyes glaze over. All right. What next?
Back to the rooms and discuss how to get in contact with Asharak of the Council of 10.
I think that sounds like a plan.
Seems like they
Well,
might be
The
difficult
idea
to get in
of
contact
giving a
with.
letter to a guard has merit.
Well, we're also hoping that letter will reach him and that he will deem us important enough. Maybe we should check the news. You mentioned
We are-
something.
We could send a message back to Eighth Way, ask for an official letter of recommendation that we are in fact on business of the church, and give that to a guard. I'm sure it'd be a lot more convincing than anything we could come up with.
Probably true.
ultimately I could just forge it. But when you have the actual thing,
Better to be
When-
official. But I think checking the news isn't also an awful idea. The guard mentioned something about him being in the news. Maybe he got sick. Maybe he needs help.
well, if it's been in the news, Maryfall barkeeper probably knows about it. Anything else people want to do? We've still got daylight. He'll look
No,
up.
you don't. It's like half
I wouldn't
6.
mind.
And it's the middle of winter. You do not have daylight.
Sorry, it's the dark
I
vision.
wouldn't mind just looking
It feels
around
like
more.
sunset.
You all have dark vision.
I know, but it's my dark vision in particular. It always feels like sunset. Weirdly, Fire Ganassi specifically have dark vision in shades of red.
That is interesting.
Yeah, they're the only race. Everyone else, shades of grey.
So you're like that one scene from Daredevil, but all the time.
No, just when it's dark.
You just
Damn it,
constantly see
Matt.
it in infrared. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Ash would quite happily explore a little bit and just look around, find places that look interesting.
Get lost for a little while.
She doesn't mind if it's light or dark when she does that. So
Yeah, sure. We can go around and get lost for a bit. I'll make sure we get back in time. You guys check in with the barkeep. As long as the 2 smarty pants are there, I'm sure we'll find something.
So is your intention
must
to
have-
get lost in the Imperial compound?
in the main city, I think.
Okay.
Back closer to the Maryfall,
We
yeah.
would-
They
we'd
must
wake
look
up the next
proper
day
weird.
to go,
We're
"Alright."
just wandering around trying to get lost, and it's Ash wearing her adventuring furs and fleet in like a beautiful dress.
Yeah.
We go back to the Maryfall.
Yes,
We go back to
I
Maryfall,
believe
ask
that
about
contrast is called a power couple.
We go back to the Maryfall, ask about some interesting news. Well, I did hear about this one drow and orc in the Imperial compound. Some crazy shit happened.
Okay. We'll start with Team Lost. Can one of you roll me luck, please? It's been a little while since we rolled luck.
Oh dear, I haven't rolled anything.
You're the one
yet
who wants to
today.
get lost? Go for it.
Team Jabrams.
99.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Okay.
good number.
Hey, if you were a reverse cleric, that would be really good.
Yeah, reverse cleric. Oh, I rolled yet another unsuccessful divine intervention in my campaign on Friday. I've rolled it so many times, I have never ever succeeded.
I mean, it is like a
What a
10% chance, if that.
It's
Slightly
1 in
more than
5
that.
if you're level 20.
If you're level 20, it's guaranteed.
If you're level 20, it's automatic.
Yes. All right. Well, theoretically, if you didn't have that ability. All right. So, Team Get Lost. Yeah. As you wander around, you observe a few things. Kind of going back to the lodestones we were talking about earlier. They seem to be spaced evenly along the street, kind of on short little poles with kind of some, glass kind of underneath them, almost like a glass bowl or disc. And they seem to glow with a faint green light that kind of softly illuminates all the streets. Around this time of day, mostly there's not too many people wandering around. However, you do wander past a particular tavern known as the Broken Barstool, and it depicts one kobold breaking a barstool over the head of another, kind of in the little picture. And from the noise going in inside, it seems like it's got an appropriate name.
Oh, yes. Let's go. Do you want to go look at this bar, Fleet? Sounds like it might be a fun time.
I am all for the Monk Barbarian rematch.
I mean, sure, let's check it out. Why
I
not?
didn't say we were going to go in and have a fight. Jeez.
I'm wearing very nice clothes. I'm looking to avoid fights for the short
Yeah.
term.
Okay, so we're heading into the Broken Barstool.
I think so, yeah.
All right. Ash, you are dressed somewhat appropriately. Fleet, you are
Not.
incredibly overdressed. I don't know if you read
I
that or not
suspect
as you
Fleet
walk
doesn't
in.
care.
Yeah,
Um,
I just feel happy that I'm in my nice dress. If everybody else doesn't
right,
look
sure.
as well dressed, fine by me.
You get a decent number of looks. Whether or not they're
How many of them are from Ash?
of the whether or not they're of the she's a bit overdressed nature or the obvious alternative, I assume Fleet can't tell. But most of the eyes seem to be focused on the very center. There appears to be a quite beefy kind of hobgoblin who is kind of sat at a table, kind of elbow in the center, kind of reaching his hand out, is clasping hands with a kind of diminutive kobold. They seem to be about to arm wrestle, and the bar is kind of chanting, they seem to be counting down to the beginning of the contest. And kind of as the countdown slowly ticks down, they start. At first, it seems a foregone conclusion. The hobgoblin is slowly, inexorably driving the kobold's hand down towards the surface of the table, kind of from the indents, kind of one either side. Or imagine there's been a lot of wear over time on this table through various arm wrestles over the years. But kind of at the last second, right before the kobold's arm touches the wood, it's almost like all the strength fades out of the hobgoblin, and the kobold, not instantly but very quickly, kind of just flips it back over. Some sort of instinct to keep going kind of just sparks in the hobgoblin right before it touches the other table, but it's too late. He can't fight back. Boff! His hand touches the table, and from the overwhelming cheer, it is a fairly clear indicator he has just lost. He gets up, decidedly disgruntled, and leaves the tavern. Seemingly, this is the forfeit given by the way people kind of part, kind of huffing and swearing to himself,
Get out of my pub.
his arm, and leaves. Well, probably walks past you. You can probably smell. He seems quite drunk.
We just elbows Ash a little bit. You gonna give it a try?
I don't think it's a bit strange that he just stopped.
It was a little odd. Maybe it was just a rigged fight to get excitement.
Well, I mean, are there sign-ups? I don't mind trying.
There's no obvious sign-up board. Things are seemingly calmed back down a little bit. A few
Where's the
patrons
kobold
are
that just won?
talking to. Yeah, he's seemingly surrounded by some sort of friends or admirers, bringing
I'll
him
wander up to
a handful of drinks.
I'll wander up to the kobold and say, "Impressive strength you've got there. Fancy a real challenge?"
They kind of look at you up and down. You sure about that?
Not at all. That's why I'm offering the challenge. It'd be no fun if we knew what was going to happen, right?
I suppose I could give you a challenge if you really wanted it.
I'm up for trying.
Well, I'm sure if you want a fair fight, you'll give me a few minutes to regain me strength. Want a drink?
Of course.
All right. He'll kind of click a finger at one of his friends / admirers, and they'll hand you a pint of ale.
Does it look like normal ale?
Insight.
Yeah, the D&D player in me is like, this is some obvious poison shit. But the character in me is like, why the fuck would I know that?
I mean, it's dark and brown. It looks like ale.
Ash is still suspicious because Ash thinks it's weird that the hobgoblin lost, but she's a bit dumb, so she'll drink it anyway.
Okay. So, what stakes are you thinking?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't have any stake.
Oh, I think he means money.
Oh, you mean like bets?
He kind of looks at
What's
Flea.
the
Strongly
standard
she's
bet
not
here?
that thick.
Yeah, not dumb, just straightforward.
That's the nicest way to call someone an idiot.
Because she's not an idiot, she's just very blunt and straightforward.
And an idiot. What's the normal kind of stake?
I don't know. Sometimes you play for ale or money in a friendly bout. I mean, that chap you just saw, he insulted my sister, so I had to take action.
Of
I have
course.
to leave.
Can't have
He's
people,
leaving town as we speak.
Can't have people insulting family. Oh, go on. Tell you what. I'll buy you and your friends here, and I shall gesture to not a huge number, but not a tiny number of friends.
Those who seem immediately around him.
Huh?
Those who seem immediately around him.
Yeah, exactly. I'll buy you all a drink if I lose.
All right. Deal. He kind of spit on his hand and hold it out to you.
Ash has seen this before, I think, so Ash will spit on her own hand and
Sure.
yeah, rather than, also spitting on his hand, which was the other option.
Yeah, the power move is to spit on his hand and shake.
Hey. Well,
Yeah.
As I want to give my arm a bit of time to recuperate, so,
Of course.
You got any good stories? It's always nice to meet new people.
Oh, we must have a few between us, mustn't we, Fleet?
Oh, we've got a couple. Do we want to tell the one about the wooden
we beat an
owlbear?
owlbear once.
It wasn't just any
I see.
owlbear.
That's quite a good one.
It was one made out of wood.
Yeah, it was very strange.
So you beat an owlbear out of wood.
No, the owlbear was made of wood, and we killed it. Like, it was alive, but it was made of wood.
It was very strange.
It was really weird.
So it was a tree.
No,
I mean,
it
it had been a tree once, yes. But it was
I'm
it was
sorry,
like
you're
an
gonna have to
anime.
start
It was
this
an
from the
animated thing.
You're going to have to start this from the beginning. You're going to
Oh,
lose
now
forward.
you're
It's kind of
mate.
interesting.
I have my notes with me. Don't.
Okay,
do this.
so we're traveling along
You're
the
the one who
road.
brought up the wooden owlbear. This is completely on you.
It was the most memorable thing. In this kind of context.
Okay, so we're traveling along the road, right? We hear some shuffling and some commotion go on from up ahead of us. I go out to scout it out because I'm the fastest among us, and I see this caravan that's just being
It's very fast.
decimated by something. And it's a bloodbath. There's bits of wood and blood and gore everywhere. It's terrible. So I move back to go get my friends. We all come up and check it out. And as we're scouting around the area, we find this owlbear that's like just hanging out. So me being me, I go up to check out, see if it wants like food or something. Maybe it was just really hungry. As I do, it reaches out to grab me. Thankfully, I'm quick enough. But as we fight it, and as we start chipping away at it, it starts dropping off bits of, like, wood and cloth and other materials that you don't normally find within an owlbear. You know, the usual meat and bone. And as
The normal bits of the inside of an owlbear, but not what we found.
And as we finally take it down, it just explodes in this weird mix of wood and cloth and armor and all bits of stuff that were just really scattered around. Super strange.
Strange and
What,
also
you just
disgusting.
took it to pieces and it was dead.
Well,
It
yeah.
did.
But it
It
killed
was
it.
made of wood, so how was it alive to start with, right? No.
Good
Very odd.
question.
That's kind of what I want to know.
Yeah, that's what we would like to have known too, but I don't think we ever found out.
We're still figuring that part out.
It's not alive anymore. We sorted that out.
Well, you tell a good story. I'll give you that.
True, too.
Okay.
Well, I guess that's all right. I think we're ready now.
Kind of stand up and crick his neck.
All right. Let's go.
So you the pair of you kind of make your way towards this kind of table, center table in kind of the middle of this tavern. It's no one seems to be sitting at it. It seems like it's just there for arm wrestling contests again, as indicated by the grooves in the wood, the quite deep ones where the elbows are placed. It almost looks like it gives you a bit of extra leverage, like, putting your elbow in the groove.
Nice.
As you kind of make your way towards it, a hush will kind of descend upon the tavern, and kind of people start their conversations to watch.
Very well. Pick your side.
Ash doesn't mind. I don't think so. Just sit down to whichever side she's closest to.
Okay. All right. One more to the road.
You kind of reach his hand out, take a. It'll be a half pint because he's a kobold from one of his friends. You kind of tank it, and then chuck the tankard back in the big direction of his friends. There's probably a grounding whack as it bounces off someone's skull.
Boy knows how to drink.
Yeah, he kind of waves his hands in the air as he kind of shouts 10, and presumably the crowd all know he's about to do this, as they immediately join in with 10, 9, as he kind of sits down and stool across you, kind of stretches his arm, places his elbow in the groove, clasps your hand.
Ash makes sure she gets the equivalent groove on her side
Sure.
well established as well. Yeah, she's ready. Or she thinks she is.
All right, so you kind of lock eyes with this kobold. How this kind of the crowd gets from 1, go, athletics. Plus.
I'm gonna roll so bad.
You've got inspirations. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I've got 1 inspiration, which I think I probably won't use on this occasion.
Okay.
A solid start.
So immediately, you kind of dig your elbow into the wood, and you just almost instantly right down. The kobold's hand is half an inch away from the wood. He's straining and sweating. He kind of lets go a couple of curses. He was not expecting this from you. He's kind of just standing firm, kind of half an inch above the surface of wood. He's not pushing back too hard, but it's almost like he's waiting for something. I'm going to need 1 more.
Cool, yeah.
Waiting for something. I wonder.
We'll use an inspiration on that. Oh dear, that's both bad.
It's better.
Oh dear. Not great, though, is it?
Oh, it's close.
No!
You kind of feel
Plus
this
12.
resurgence in strength in the kobold. It is quite surprising. He kind of forces your hand up. He kind of grits his teeth, and you kind of almost hear them grinding together. He kind of just barely brings you back to the equilibrium, and he kind of just tips you over. I think because that one was so close, we're gonna have to roll another one.
Come on, Ash. Come on, Ash. Come on, Ash. Come on, Ash. Oh, fuck! Oh.
You were not expecting the surge of strength. You hold your own for a moment, and then right into the surface of the wood.
Yep, fair enough.
Holy
I'm well
hell.
impressed with the dude. Bloody hell, says Ash. You're quite strong.
Ah, well, you know, I've had practice. That's what, 25 consecutive wins out of, 500 maybe in my career.
25.
You know, this is my
Well-
bar for a reason.
Very impressive, indeed. What are you drinking?
Oh, just, the standard tap stuff.
Excellent. Ash will get around however much
Sure.
that ends up coming to.
Yeah. We'll say it's 8 wins, so that'll be, we'll call it a silver if you buy one for Unifleet as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do that. Lovely.
Good contestant. It kind of goes to shake your hand.
I will very enthusiastically return the handshake.
Sure. Seemingly the surge of strength you felt while in contest is not quite there anymore. Although maybe, he isn't deliberately crushing your fingers.
Could go either way.
Yeah. All right. I think you're satisfied with that being your wand of the evening. You could close out this tavern if you really wanted to, but
We'll go and have a look at some more stuff, I think, maybe on the way back, but unless there's anything in particular that Fleet wants to do.
No, please
we'll
just,
call that your adventure. And then
please just hanging out
Okay.
close to
Okay.
Ash's arm because she's very surprised.
Yeah.
Ash is also very surprised.
Uh,
She's like, what the fuck just happened? I don't understand. I've
Crowdness
been bitten
Tavern
by a kobold.
doesn't seem surprised. Yeah, okay. So, team not getting lost, you return to the Singing Whelk. You want to talk to the bartender, yes?
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi there. We'd heard there might have been some news recently about a man named Asharak. I don't suppose you'd heard anything about that.
Oh, yes. Him. He was... how do we put this? He has recently suffered a shift in his vocational paradigm. He has fallen out of favor somewhat after recent failings. He used to be, the councilman on the council of 10, not 12, 10. But as I say, he's fallen out of favor and he finds himself. I don't think he is officially fired, but perhaps on some sort of probationary period while they decide exactly what they want to do with him.
What exactly did he do?
My understanding is, you are completely new to the city, yes?
First time, yep.
Right. So, the Council of 12, well, the Warden King, he is, he does many things. He is Baron of the city, Archduke of the Duchy, and, King, Emperor of Gaecia. He has many ranks, but naturally he cannot fulfill each and every one of them to the highest degree. And so much of the duties of his baronetcy is carried out by the council. Naturally, they advise him, on state matters as well, but they also do, the duties of running the city. Split 10 ways, it is some of that time, but it's not all of it, hence why they are also able to, be clerics, some of the most high ranked in the city, as well as being advisors and, carry out these admin duties. Quite often, when emergencies or projects rise up, they'll be assigned to a particular councilman. So, say they want to, underwork some kind of paving project, that will be assigned to a particular councilman whose responsibility is to, oversee the details.
So
My
the Council of
understanding is
So the Council of 10, each council member has a specific job, or are they just
No, they are not.
capable individuals.
There's not one who, this one is in charge of sanitation. No, they all do it all. They have a few of things I understand that they do day to day. That be unique to them, but it is not strictly assigned that way. Um, they each, say the Warden King wants to do, the paving project, be whichever one, is best suited because he has the most free time, or is underdoing, the least things at the moment. He is not, a councilman of transportation, councilman of the events, they're not. This is not that strict responsibility. It is almost informal. As I say, technically it is the Warden King's responsibility as Baron of Rak Cthan to do these things, but he delegates the exact details to the council. As I say, as it is not 100% codified, they do not have these specific areas that they control. My understanding is Asharak was supposed to be investigating the sickness that is occurring in certain wells in, I believe it was the southeast quarter of the city, that kind of general area. Apparently he spent a lot of time and money and has not turned up anything. It is more than likely he has fallen a bit further from grace than strictly necessary due to, our current king is, let us say, not long for the world, and it is time that people are posturing for their position in succession.
And this sickness in the water, we heard something about it coming into the city.
Yes.
This is a political affair? Seems like something more for the church, surely.
Councilmen are the church. They are not legislators by nature in any manner. So, when a king dies, he is elected from the nobility, so military, legislative branch of government. But he is picked by the council because they are high-ranking clergymen. It is because obviously the Warden King hears the steward of Tuthak, he hears his voice. And such matters, such as appointing him, can only come from the council. Apparently, there are all sorts of rituals and stuff that they do to, determine exactly Tuthak's will. What truth there is to that, or how effective they may be, your guess is as good as mine. But first and foremost, they are clergymen. They have clerical duties. They are not archbishop of the cathedral. You cannot hold both ranks, and as soon as you take one, you cannot take the other. So they are not strictly the highest rank clergyman in Rak Cthan, but for political purposes, as the power they have as, advisor to the king, they might as well be. But they are clergymen first and foremost.
Do you know if Councilman Asharak has a private residence that he can be reached at?
Oh, all the private residences they have, visual housings, in the palace, so when they're doing work, but they almost always have some sort of other residence. They are not exactly how do we say, poor men, so they can afford such extravagances.
Do you know where it can be found?
I do not know his personal residence, unfortunately. If you are desperate to find out, perhaps ask at the palace, but you would need a pretty persuasive reason for them to divulge that exact information. Other than that, I mean, maybe find a tailor who made the clothes to him who might know it. But again, you would probably have to give a pretty good reason to him to give you the information.
No, that's fair. We were looking into avenues regarding that anyway. That's side business anyway. This sickness. What do you know about it? What's when did it start up?
It was. Let me do the maths. About month and a half ago, that it was first recognized. Certain people are linking from certain wells. They undergo the sickness. It is new. There is no official name for it, although people colloquially call it the what do they call it? Yes, the speckled devil is what they call it. Because you come out in boils and warts, all over your face and even all over your entire body. You look like a speckled egg, supposedly.
And it's lethal?
Not normally. At first, at least, it was only very old or already sick, and a few children who died from it. Although there have been more and more deaths in the general healthy population. Generally, though, those wells are disused, and so numbers are going down.
So it seems to be back under control.
People are not getting infected, however, they are using the other wells in the city, which is logistically challenging, to say the least. There is only so much water a well can produce in one day. There's only so much stockpiled, so the wells need to be uninfected pretty soon, as people would have to start using them again, which would lead to more cases.
Out of conversation, would I have a vague idea of how Rak Cthan wells are fed? Because it's not near rivers and we're not near mountains.
Go survival. Okay, let me take you to the map. So there's no obvious river. There's no branch of the main river that actually goes through Rak Cthan. Maybe I should have made you roll history, but so basically there are it's groundwater that comes up is your general understanding. It's kind of it wouldn't be enough to support the city if it hadn't been deliberately manufactured as part of the making of the mountain city, man-made mountain kind of thing. But it's mostly deep underground, so generally quite difficult to get to.
So
but
likely some sort of underground aquifer,
presumably.
which would be interesting, seeing as it would feed all of the wells, presumably. That is a strange one.
I am not geographer. I am by no means expert.
No, and I'm sure if they had a member of the Council of Ten investigating it, it was, well, strange enough to warrant.
Well, as I say, we need those wells back in commission pretty soon, or we will have a drought, which in middle of winter, probably not too big a problem. We can just, get mine snow from the land and bring it in, but come summer, big problem.
Sure. Thanks for the information.
But it's
We
all
might come back for well, we've got business in the city, but the Merryfall Association has its own.
Well,
business.
Rome's paid for the week. I assume you are coming back.
Yes. Return
Further-
to Yareth and Arlath if I have to.
And I assume Yareth and Alaf are together.
If necessary.
You don't have to look upon me.
Looks like our council member is a little bit disgraced at the moment. Might make him easier to get to, although the usefulness of such a person in our personal endeavor is questionable. I'll start working on drafting a letter to the church in Eighthway, see if we can get some kind of, I don't know, invitation, recommendation, something official.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
So it'd be
Seems
2
like as
days
good a
before
way
you
as
have it,
any.
minimum, because it won't be till dawn till it sends, and you have to wait till the next dawn to receive a reply.
That's fine. Having it's better than not, so I'll...
Oh yeah, just letting you know that would be how things would go down.
Yes, I will write up something to the church in Eighthway to the to the effect of,
Sure.
we have reached Rak Cthan.
Mhm.
We have been given a tip that council member Asharak may be useful. Could you provide us with some official recommendation or introduction that would satisfy Cthanian authorities?
That's the kind of thing that he said you could get in contact with him for. So it's you imagine it won't have too much pushback.
And I'll save that to pop in the box when Ash gets back.
I assume you probably eat around this time. Eventually, it'll be a bit later when Fleet and Ash return. They seem like they've had a couple of drinks. Let's put it that way.
Fleet is
Try and
hanging onto
save them
Ash's
some food.
arm, half for balance, half because apologizing for Ash's lost bet.
I was going to ask if you guys found anything fun, but you are the answer.
It was good. I got beaten in an arm wrestle by a kobold.
A very
never
strong
been-
kobold.
I've never been more simultaneously impressed and ashamed. It was quite an experience.
I actually
Also,
think I would
Fleet
have liked to
can't
have seen
walk
that.
in these shoes.
Not for very long.
Well, if we're here for a few days, Phoenix, I think said kobold is there regularly. We could go back if you want to see it. Whether my pride can take another hit, I'm not sure, but I was very strong. It was odd.
Did he look strong?
He's a
How-
kobold.
How big was this kobold?
Kobold-sized.
Yeah, kobold-sized.
He definitely
Right.
didn't look very strong.
Having a bit of an off day then.
No, it wasn't just me. He beat a what was the thing before us? He beat a
hobgoblin.
bugbear. A
Hobgoblin. not a
hobgoblin. There we go.
Hobgoblin's a
I
bit
know.
less important.
Yeah. Ash knows what she's talking about. He beat a hobgoblin too. Apparently, he's won 25 times uncontested. This little skinny kobold. You know when like drunk people start off happy and start ranting slightly? That's what Ash is doing right now.
You're
Oh,
not
there,
drunk,
there.
especially with your
No.
constitution.
But Ash is still ranting and getting very sad.
I imagine there's a significant vibe factor to it.
Yeah,
Whilst the
yeah,
whilst the alcohol content might not
The alcohol
necessarily
content
be
is low,
high,
but the vibe content is high.
yes.
Got a bit of a buzz. Put it that
Well,
way.
I definitely want to see that, but that's a thing for another night. Pass over the chest. I need to send a letter.
Oh, sure. Ash will do so.
It's all right,
Sure.
Ash. Let's get that seat.
It'll be fine. I'll get over it.
Well, yeah, you can go back for a rematch.
I don't think I can beat him. That's the problem.
I'm sure you can.
Don't think you can beat him yet. It is important to maintain a growth mindset if you are not to die.
Oh, Arlath just sent me back to fucking high school. Jesus.
They have high schools in the Badlands.
Shut up. That was out of character. Leave me alone.
I mean, they have schools in the Badlands, it seems more obvious.
Yeah, they have any kind of school in the Badlands.
It's just schools up in the mountains.
All schools. That's the only building they know how to build. Like,
Every
it's
building
ridiculous.
is a school.
They don't have houses, but my god, do they have a robust education system?
Either that or they just name every building a school.
It's funny you make the joke, Felix, but actually, in Orcish, school is the word for homestead.
Oh.
There you go, that's canon now.
I guess that's done now, yeah.
Does that count as like one day of training towards Orcish?
You have
Yes,
learned
you've
the
learnt-
word for homestead.
You've learnt one of the 10 words of Orcish.
The words are homestead, here, and
Okay, if I'm training it, it's one of the 6 words.
No, there's still 10 words. You just learn them in
if you
6
were-
days.
If you have 10 and 10, it would be 10 weeks. So that would be
A week per word.
70
you're a
words.
week to learn the word school.
70 words if it's a word a day.
Yeah, if there's no other business, I guess we while away the rest of the night
Sure.
with
Spend
full rip.
spend appropriate money for how sloshed you want to get.
What'd you learn about
Um,
Asharak?
Council member, like we were told, but got into a bit of trouble with this whole disease well situation. Seems to be on a bit of a short leash at the moment. Might make him easier to talk to, but well, we're waiting for our friends in Hathaway to get back to us on that one, and we're waiting
Make
for
him harder to talk to, too.
that. And we're waiting for our friends back at the Arcane Guild to get back to us on that. So seems like for now
The Church of Akaran. Oh, the Arcane Guild in Cthan, right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm getting mixed up. Sorry.
like for now the city's ours.
Well, we've got some gold bars, and I'm sure a city this big has a lot of shopping that can happen in it.
How much more shopping could we possibly do?
It's gonna
We
say,
already bought clothes, and we all have food. I don't understand.
We can buy
Yeah,
things
but-
that'll help us hit
How
better.
my friend heard of magic items.
And I'm
Whole
sure
concept of shopping
Phoenix-
is freaking Ash out.
I'm sure Phoenix needs more supplies always.
I'm actually pretty sad for the moment.
Oh, really? Well, maybe we can find you some new spells to put in your book.
Well, that would
Maybe
that
you
would-
could sell this
Either which
notebook.
one.
that would be the purview of the Magic Guild we're currently waiting to hear back from. So
I'm sure there's magical shops outside of the guild itself.
yeah, maybe we can find that fucking disappearing goblin shop again.
Oh, maybe. Wonder where it'll be
Goblin
this time.
Bazaar.
Well, we were looking to get lost and we didn't find it. We'll just give it another try.
Yeah. So is this an end for the evening?
I think eventually we'll.
I like how
Kind of
within this group saying "get lost" is just an activity, not an insult.
Sure.
I'm gonna go and get lost, fleet. Okay.
Some point during the night, I'll use a 3 on a portent to make Ash fail a dexterity check.
Sure.
Dude.
Maybe she was, trying to do something to impress a certain bedressed member.
Hey, listen. I don't think poor Ash's brain has got that far yet. Okay.
Your subconscious might have, though.
Subconsciously, you would normally, let's say, kind of try and sound like the back end of the store, as in like the back of the chair, while you down a pint, but today you decided to try it for reasons you can't quite explain. Fortunately, you land flat on your face and break the tankard.
And then, obviously, like a cat, style it out and pretend you meant to do that.
Fleet will laugh and offer a hand to help her up.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll
My
call
cunning
that
plan is working, thinks that.
we'll call that a 10-minute break for now.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll take a quick 10-minute break. Get drinks, go to leave, stuff like that. And yeah, we'll be back with then for the rest of the episode. Bye bye.
Hi guys.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Gaecia. So turns out I'm a big fat idiot. Everyone was meant to level up when they entered the city because they'd been training on the road, they'd been doing their press ups and studying their spells. But whatever, I've learned it now. So we've all quickly leveled up. Riley had to go. He's feeling a bit overworked. Needs to go have his nap, which is fine. Life happens. So, Britty, why don't you tell us what you get this level up first?
So at level 6, I get slightly less than average HP because I rolled poorly, but I get a cool thing where my fists are now considered magical, so any creature that is immune or resists non-magical damage no longer can resist my fists. And
Resist
the fist.
That sounds like a band.
sounds like a bad porno.
Oh, no.
Jesus.
Fist resist.
Oh,
And for a class feature, I get Wholeness of Body, which allows me to heal myself as an action equal to 3 times my monk level, once per long rest, which means I can get 18 hit points back as an action. Way better than any healing potion I could drink.
all right.
If we had them.
You don't go out and buy them.
They're in the Merryfall.
Oh, yeah, they're there. You just
Yeah.
don't buy them.
I know. I'm just saying. If we actually had any healing potions.
Ash, what do you get this level up?
Ash gets another rage, so extra angies, and also the spirit shield subclass feature, so I can essentially reduce the damage taken by allies who are close to me with my reaction.
Right.
Which is pretty fun.
Phoenix.
I get a decidedly less interesting ability to regain spell slots when I cast divination spells.
Still very good.
Regaining spell slots is never a bad thing.
It is when it's tied to casting divination spells.
You're a divination wizard.
That doesn't mean
Idea
I
is
cast
to cast
divination
several
spells.
divination spells.
I believe Phoenix's brand of divination wizard is Portents Go Burr.
I mean, yeah, but even so.
I'm sorry, that's
and
everyone's brand of divination wizard.
what if you're making like a mystic, like a lady with crystal ball and everything? That's divination wizard, isn't it?
Make a
Yeah.
druid.
Portents still go Burr.
Well, yeah, but anyway, Nat, what do you get?
So I get a second channel divinity, so I can destroy even more undead. I get an extra prepared spell, and as a bonus action, when I'm in dim light or darkness, I can magically give myself a flying speed equal to my walking speed for a minute, up to 3 times, because it's tied to proficiency bonus. And since I have a class feature that lets me produce dim light, I can basically create a little flight orb for myself.
Yeah.
Horrifying. I love it.
All right.
You're literally one step away from being like, I am the knight.
Flying
I mean,
Blender
that is-
cleric.
That
Where
is
is out there?
that is Twilight Cleric. Like the end goal is just to become nighttime.
Okay.
Pose.
Yeah. So day will dawn once more. You spend a pleasant
Thank
evening
goodness for that.
in the singing Welk. It seems you timed your journey very well. Overnight, it snowed, and it did not stop. It's 2-3 inches deep now outside, kind of open streets
Is it now?
of the city. Come on.
We know. Draw the line at fisting.
Don't we all? I'm sorry, I'm going to mute myself.
No, it's just ever since I've got the level up, this session is.
Well, to be
Right,
fair,
yeah.
that was only like
Ever since you
10
forgot the
minutes
level
ago.
up, so like, since the start.
Okay. Okay. So, yes, the snow kind of covers the city of Rak Cthan like a frosty blanket. Phoenix, you open her eyes to see the nightstand. All it is the book. It whimpers. If you had a heart, it might almost break.
Well, you're persistent, I'll give you that. He'll sit up, look around, imagine Yareth's probably already gone downstairs since he doesn't sleep. While I've got the room to myself, I'll take out my own spell book, look, kind of double check the most recent spell I've been working on, make sure everything seems sound, then lightly trace this kind of burning circle just below my ear, kind of leave a little shimmering heat haze for a moment as I cast Sending to Venetra White.
Okay. Let me just remind myself exactly which one that is.
Hey, Mom. It's Phoenix. Magic, don't question it. Just checking in, I guess. How is everything? You can respond, but it's limited. 25 words.
FYI, to avoid people getting bogged down in counting words, you have 30 seconds to say your message, you have 30 seconds to reply. That's what the spell is. Instead of going, it was the dog sat on the mat, like, because that gets boring and people, quibble over, oh, this is the best way of saying it, and
You can
30
respond.
seconds, not
30
20
seconds.
words. That's how I roll it, because it's just easier.
Gonna have to get like a timer on my screen when I do it.
Approximately 30 seconds. Okay. You'll get a reply. I'm fine. Hope you're well. When are you coming home?
Then he'll stand up and get ready for the day.
Right. So you can all regroup downstairs.
Alex just left his mom on red.
Don't
Look,
we all?
It's a valuable spell
True.
slot.
As you leave the room, you will hear the whimper once more from the book, Phoenix. You can all reconvene around breakfast. It'll be kind of a cinnamony toast thing with kind of these caramelized apple slices that are kind of laid on top of it.
Well, besides waiting, what else can we do today? Snow's pretty high.
We could always go and see if there's maybe other ways we can speed up what we're doing. Other ways to get access to the people we need, perhaps? Or information about them that we can use later, maybe?
Maybe there's some way to petition a meeting in an easier way than Kobold was. Not to be insulting to him, but perhaps he wasn't the most knowledgeable about the things that go on in the Council of Tan.
He did have a bit of a night clerk aura.
That's basically what he was.
Yeah, so it's accurate.
Yeah. He had an aura of himself.
I find most kobolds do.
Self-actualizing aura.
Yes.
to one's own
No
self.
script
True.
here. Who invited Script?
That's not how that works.
Script invites himself.
So I've no immediate plans. I'll defer to the group on this one. Although, funny thing, he'll kind of not kick back, but lean back on the chair a bit. Fleet, we didn't tell him, did we?
About what?
Back when we were near the river, coming back from, well, that. We met that other group.
Oh, right, yeah. That is something that we have to consider, ain't it?
They
Lazy Day seems as good a time as any.
they sort of brought up the fact that, well, groups like ours, parties, I guess, usually have names, something to distinguish ourselves. Make it a bit easier than introducing each of us every time. We do seem to be in this for something of the long haul.
We've been in it for the long haul.
Might be worth considering.
What would you propose that we call ourselves?
I have no idea. That's not really my thing.
If she was still around, I would have asked Althea. She seems to be the most creatively minded of everyone here.
You're gripping me!
I can ask her if you want.
You can?
Yeah, Nat, come up with something good, bro.
I've been working on something since I saw those sending stones. There's a trick to replicating their effect, although I can only do it so many times.
Can you do it to anyone?
Anyone I've met, or I think anyone I've got a decent enough description of.
She just sort of starts sitting back, puts her hands on her face, and starts thinking. This isn't something she normally does.
Thinking? Or.
Thinking,
This
yes.
is not an invitation to suddenly become the group's mail carrier, so keep that in mind.
Oh, I'm the mail carrier.
Well, I mean, you're the carrier. I'm sure you could carry male or female.
I think considering the well situation in the city, we don't want to be carrying anything.
We're all terrible.
We really are.
Oh, yeah, well, if you had asked DM, I could have just popped that in the chat.
You were RPing, it's fine.
This is a bit of a long shot, but do you think you could send it to someone that you just barely got a view of in, like, really backward sort of way?
I've got a pretty good memory. If I saw them, I probably can.
The drow lady just, oi! Give me the ring back!
You could!
And then Phoenix clocks what fleet means. Oh. I don't know. I guess. I mean, all I can do is try.
Well, I was gonna ask you about it anyway, because, you know, I'm sure there's more
No, it's
here.
I'm sorry, I didn't even.
No,
think.
that's not entirely what I mean. I'm sure there's more up here in my head that you could prod through, and I'm sure we haven't seen all of it. Oh, you two weren't there. Phoenix kind of poked through my head and saw my mom, maybe?
Oh.
Fascinating. Why is your mother inside your head?
'Cause... Well, long story short, I can't really remember her, and, you know, she wasn't exactly around, so... I've got a very fading memory of her. now a bit bolstered.
Ah, a memory, not a strange form of imprisonment.
No magic imprisonment. At least I don't think. Wouldn't that be a twist? But no,
Well,
she's not.
Phoenix seems a capable enough wizard. I'm sure if anyone can contact her, it might be him.
When we were over at the Mages Guild, I was also thinking about asking them if they had any ways of storing or unlocking more memory than what you could do right now. But it seemed a bit selfish, so I didn't ask.
Give me a moment. And Phoenix kind of scrape back on the chair, focus intently on the table in front of him, and he will use minor image to recreate as best he can remember from Fleet's memories the female figure who appeared to have been carrying him. Smaller, but just recreating the features.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember when you did that.
A while ago.
Yeah.
Less than a month, but
Were you in Guxnam? Yeah, I think
Yes,
so.
we were, because it was the reason that we had decided to pit stop to Falari.
Yeah, you might be pushing the month mark, actually.
I mean, worst comes to worst, you just
it's
I mean, it's not like it
nevertheless-
gets instantly deleted.
No.
starts to fade. But worst comes to
I-
worst, you can just poke around in my
yeah.
head again.
Nevertheless, it was never a photorealistic image anyway, because it's a vague memory that a baby had, and so
Yeah.
it's never crystal clear. So it's
that's
a
why
vague image at best. So it's Phoenix remembering a memory that a baby had,
which is why
so-
I'm recreating it as a minor image first, just
yeah,
solidifying it in my head.
It's by no means particularly great, but it's the gist of a face.
Anything that can help with this?
I mean, you could always just poke around in my head again. You needed to get a refresher on what we saw.
He probably wouldn't get much more than that. So I'm saying like it's as best as he can remember it, but it's him remembering a baby's memory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying if you
It's
poke, if you
never
did
photorealistic.
the,
It's as good as it can be without, even if he poked around in the head again.
So I'll
Yeah, if
spend a
you-
moment
Can visualize it.
solidifying my own memory into a minor image,
Sure.
recasting it a few times, just tweaking it so there's kind of vague things that like a baby would see. I'm just resolving it into a real person's face as best as I can.
I mean,
Spend
it's
a moment.
simply a face. It's
Well,
just kind
I
of
mean-
if you had a lineup of similar looking people, it's not enough to definitively say yes, it's that one. Is what I'm getting at.
Well, it's always worth a try. And he will look down, inscribe that burning circle just under his ear again, and attempt to cast sending to that woman.
Yeah. So you inscribe your circle, it kind of goes in the heat haze. You picture the person in your head, and you're kind of like you're almost searching with your mind for this connection to this person. You don't find anything to receive onto, and the spell fades without having any effect.
While Phoenix is sending, the rest of them will notice that tiny little flames will just kind of creep out of the corner of his eyes. He'll kind of he'll look just distant while he's sending or attempting to, and then
Is
that'll
that Phoenix crying? Does that man cry fire? That's cool as fuck.
that'll burn off, and then he'll look up and go, "Sorry, there's either no one to receive, or it's not
it was
clear."
a hope and a dream.
It was worth a shot. I'm annoyed I didn't think of it myself.
I think for clarity, I'm going to say a creature with which you're familiar, you need to have had like an idle conversation. So
That's fair. Phoenix is
So like Fleet or Ash could send it to the kobold they met, but perhaps not to the bartender of that bar because they were like, 2 drinks, please. That's the extent of their interaction. I think.
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
think that's where I'm going to draw the line.
I just learned the spell myself, so still learning the ins and outs, testing the bounds.
Yeah.
It was a stretch anyway. I appreciate you trying.
It's no problem. Doesn't cost me much. So, what's everyone else's plans?
I think we should acquire a newspaper. And
Yeah,
I
because we gotta
think
check the news.
we should see if we can find perhaps any older ones, maybe going back the last couple of weeks.
As we've established before, there is no such thing as a printing press, so a newspaper would be inconceivable.
It's town criers.
When I
Town criers, we're gonna have to find the town criers.
when I retired out there, I knew I should have brought in Johnny Gutenberg, the artificer.
To invent
so
the
you could
printing
invent
press.
the press.
That would be a good way to fix our financial concerns.
Could sell the printing press. You'd be billionaires.
Yeah, you just have to put the campaign on hold for a couple of years while he invented it.
Yeah.
You're worth it.
It's not like it's the fate of the world or anything. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, it's
sure
fine,
that
'cause
would go
It's not like
perfectly.
we've been literally
Johnny-
chosen by gods or anything.
No.
Johnny Gutenberg's out here creating the printing press. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Just chill, bro.
John
So,
Gutenberg.
in terms of
Oh.
the best places to get news, just general news, so kind of almost like headlines. That would be the town crier kind of job. In terms of details, some things will be on like notice boards, so they'll be next to the maps in this particular city because Cthanians like maps. Or it'll be people like bartenders, but that's kind of more rumors. So it's kind of what they have got more details because they've had a drink with the person who knew the person who was involved or whatever. Other than that, it'd be possibly officials. So say it's to do with a spirit crime. You maybe want to go to the guard or whatever. Yeah. It's not the easiest to get a definitive list of facts regarding the news, like it is in our day and age.
Ha ha! Funny joke.
Well, no, you can get access to news. It's just not all of it true.
As we walk, I'll just say, even if we do manage to get a meeting with this Asharak, it almost feels like a certainty that he's going to rope us into this whole sickness business. And you know what that means? We're going to end up doing someone else's plumbing again.
A party name springs to mind.
We're not calling
no.
ourselves the plumbers.
I have to agree with Phoenix on this one. I don't think I want to be known as a plumber.
Sorry, I laughed.
I was going to suggest the pipe cleaners, but never mind.
That is
That just sounds
somehow-
like a strip show.
Again, terrible porno title.
Pretty what? You not know what a pipe cleaner is?
Well, I know what the object a pipe cleaner is, but it also just sounds like a terrible porno title. Adam,
I
ma'am,
mean-
I'm here to come clean your pipes.
do my
Oh
own
my
plumbing?
god. Oh lord.
I don't apologize for the things that come out of my mouth.
You should.
Probably.
Okay, so
Oh Christ.
where are we going? Who said you were walking?
Well, perhaps we should get a head start, maybe, on this plumbing business. We should do some investigating before we meet this guy.
Rather curious as to how they're getting sick.
I'm pretty sure investigating this city's concerns without authorization would be a very bad turn for us.
No one
Cathanian-
said we had to do anything quite so serious as investigating, but a bit of an ask around and so on. No?
They call it the speckled devil. It's making people sick. It doesn't seem that lethal. That's probably all we're going to get.
It wasn't
Average
so
person.
lethal at first, but it did get more lethal as time went on.
Plus, they seem to be getting it back under control while the wells are quarantined, so...
I'd like you to ignore a problem, Phoenix.
I'm not ignoring a problem. If they ask us to help with it, I'm more than willing to. I just don't want to get us into anything that could get us in trouble later. Cathanian authorities don't like civilians getting involved when they're not supposed to. You should know this. We ran into this exact same problem in Guxnam.
Yeah, and it worked out fine.
As much as I would love to extend the first hand and help out where we're not asked.
And like I said, if we get a meeting with this Asharak guy, he's in the doghouse because of this whole situation. I'm sure whatever we end up doing, if it involves a favor from him, he'll probably rope us into this whole mess. Call it a prophecy of my own.
Noted.
Well, if it comes true, we can, say your powers of divination are, well, divine.
Anyway, like I said, we've got the day.
About the day, and I don't know what to do. Very used to at this point, just following around you guys as you have something always interesting going on.
I'll be right back.
We could just call this free time to do, free time for like Xanathars or whatever.
I can always spend the time training. Not gonna say no to hours on my boots.
I mean, if we've got a bit of downtime, Phoenix will look for some kind of bookseller. Try and find another kind of
Again,
alchemical primer.
shops don't really exist because you can't mass produce books.
It's the printing press
So
again.
you'd have to go
We
to a
really
library
need to
and
find an
persuade them to make you a
artificer.
copy.
Whoever dies next, bring in an artificer.
Well, he said there was no library, but the city has to have books somewhere.
In the Arcane College, and presumably
The
there'll
only
be
place there are books.
there'll be there'll be all sorts of scrolls and stuff to do with treaties, but they'll be in the palace or whatever. We're talking about, as I say, early medieval. Most people probably can't read.
I guess Phoenix is heading back to the Arcane Guild then. Seeing if he can get one of those low-level mages to supervise a study session, or if he can ask to lend a book on alchemy.
Hey, so you make your way back to the Guild of Arcane Study. It's actually the exact same kobold. He almost looks to be in exactly the same position, head against his hand, arm on the desk, just. Ugh.
Wow,
he
that is
walks
a
up to you.
rough shift you've got there.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I was looking to gain access to the library.
What you asked yesterday.
No, I'm more than willing to wait for that specific book if you have it, but just in more general terms, I'm looking for some kind of alchemical primer, something along those lines.
Right. Okay. You're kind of heavily, with seemingly much distaste, stand up. You'll kind of open like a door and have a couple of words with someone on the other side. Come back, sit down, resume the same position. Wait here. As you wait, kind of 20 minutes or so, a kind of annoyed looking, kind of youthful, almost lizard folk will kind of, meet their way towards you. They've kind of got a bag, a few scrolls in the one arm. They kind of give you a look of, I'm only doing this because I have to. What could I help you with, sir?
Hi there. Are you my supervising mage?
Supervising for what?
I'm teaching myself alchemy. I was hoping you might have some books on the subject.
I see. Very well, come this way. He'll kind of turn and lead you into the gate. Before you can go, however, the kobold was like, hold up a hand. Stop. You need to sign. No, sorry, that's the wrong way. You need to sign this. He'll kind of push over paper to you, Phoenix. It's basically just I promise not to burn the building down while I'm in here kind of thing. I'm responsible for damages, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, he'll sign a disclaimer.
And then you'll be given a kind of cloth to tie around your kind of left bicep that basically marks you out as I don't belong here kind of thing.
I've got a visitor's badge.
Yeah, basically.
Hi, my name is Phoenix.
Yeah. Lizard folk wait impatiently while you do this. And then once that's all settled, he'll take you up. It's a short little walk. It's kind of it's a loose collection of buildings. There's various kind of towers and stuff where kind of presumably study happens. You're kind of taken into the towards the far end of the guild like premises. This is where there seems to be a lot more practical learning going on. You see a small class, maybe 5 people. They seem to be taking some sort of beginner's spell class, and you kind of recognize many of the
Leviosa!
pretty much. Except it's
I love
outside
it.
to minimize damage. They seem to be learning to cast some sort of firebolt type thing. You recognize many of the similar trippings up you made yourself when you were first in study. You almost resent the fact that they have someone to point it out. Certain things it took you weeks to realize. On your own. Eventually, you be led to this kind of. It's a short, stumpy little tower. It kind of has the name the name on the outside of the building, kind of little sign. It reads Alchemy Department. You'll be kind of led in and then kind of through on the bottom level to some sort of room. It's not quite a library. There's only about 4 bookshelves. And you'll be given leisure to roam it while your escort grumpily sits at a desk, presumably doing whatever work he's doing.
Before I begin properly kind of reading and researching, you don't have to look quite so glum. This doesn't have to be a chore. You're what, apprenticing, studying here?
Please don't talk to me.
Oh, come on. I bet you don't get a lot of chances to get out and enjoy yourself. Places like this, they're pretty stymied on that. It doesn't have to be a chore. I'll probably be back. Do you have a drink of choice?
Sir,
Also, Ferret thinks of a really scathing way to turn him down.
To read books. If you wanted conversation, I could name any number of taverns. You would have much greater success.
Well, you're a student, so I believe you. And then he'll get into reading.
All right, yeah. Yeah, you can mark off, 1 day's training. If this is what you like to do all day. Your escort will be relieved at some point. They're not going to make him stay there all day with you. but you're not allowed to take the book even out of the room, let alone out of the building.
So just to clarify, what does qualify as proficient? How many days of?
Right. So you need to do a number of weeks equals 10 minus your intelligence modifier, which for you is 3.
So 6 weeks.
Yeah.
My intelligence modifier is 4.
Okay, yeah. So it'd be 6 weeks of 7 days of 8 hours work. So that's 6 times 7 is 42. So 42 days. So you can mark off 1 8-hour period.
Okay.
So 1 day, so 41 days left, minus whatever you already had.
Up to 3. This is going to take a while.
You're learning something from scratch. It's going to take a while.
3 of 42. Good to know.
Yeah. It's not meant to be quick and easy, because then everyone will be proficient in everything. Okay. While Phoenix is being a nerd, what's everybody else doing?
Nerd.
Just
It's true.
asking Ash if she can help train with the fancy footwork, just to pass the time.
Sure.
You can,
Yeah,
you can
sure.
still only do that for maximum 2 hours a day because
Yeah.
it's very intensive.
It's 2 hours, but then you just move into
Sure.
instead of footwork training, just regular training.
Okay.
Yeah, Ash is more than happy to help.
Yeah. There's a thing for training in the Xanathar's downtime. Let me look it up quickly. Where is it? Talk among yourselves. This is going to take a minute.
No, I refuse.
While I'm there, I would inquire if the guild allows lending of books.
As I say, you're not allowed to take it out of the room, let alone the...
Right.
Unless you particularly ingratiate yourself, that's not going to happen.
Need to get a minder who isn't a lizard folk. Persuasion's wasted on them.
Okay. Fleet or Ash, I'm going to ask you to roll me a d6.
Took the
Fleet,
luck
it's
roll.
your thing.
You took the luck roll. I'll take the d6.
Yeah.
Solid one.
Okay, Ash.
Hello.
You're sparring with Fleet. She's going off. She's got these trained patterns that she does over and over and over again. You're used to just kind of working out by doing.
Yeah.
And
They're
after
different styles.
after half an hour, you are bored out of your tiny mind. And so
They're so tiny.
You mentioned to Fleet that you're going to go grab some water, and you just walk out the inn and decide to get lost.
I wouldn't do that to Fleet.
The complication you rolled was your instructor went missing, and this is my closest approximation.
Ash actually gets lost on the way to get water.
Instead of trying
You
to
try
get
and get
lost.
water, and he's like, "Oh, it's the barrier around the back." And so you go around the back, and you're like, "Ooh, what's that?" And you just walk off. You lose concentration. It's a couple hours before you remember. Shit, I was getting some water for Fleet.
Honestly, that doesn't even sound that inaccurate.
No. Hey. Allah, what do you?
Sorry, I was halfway through a chicken nugget.
Of course you were, Nat. Of course you were.
What a way to live.
Right. I don't. Alaf has genuinely nothing to do. Like, he probably awkwardly follow Phoenix towards the library before realizing that's not for me.
What am I going to do with a book?
Yeah, exactly. Hit someone
Rip
with
it
it,
in half?
maybe. But otherwise, yeah, he'd probably just spend his time sort of idly wandering around, like not even on like not even what's it Ash's and Fleet's thing of like, oh, let's get lost. Just sort of like, he's used to just like wandering through a place without having any sort of pretense. And sometimes things happen to him, sometimes they don't, and he's all right with just sort of existing for a day.
Okay.
Somebody get this man a hobby.
Roll me perception. Okay.
For what it's worth, he'd be out in his like clerical robes. He wouldn't have the armor and the shield on.
Sure. You're wandering around town, kind of just existing in the city. And you almost walk through it before you realize it. But standing right in front of you, just leaning in a window, looking through it, there is a very hazy outline in the light of day, kind of reflecting off the snow. But you just about notice a spirit, as I say, seemingly staring in through a window.
He'll turn to look at it, just sort of quietly, sort of say, "Are there many people around?"
You kind of walked into like a fairly quiet street. People are trying to avoid walking because it's difficult because of snow. So you might be like one person halfway down the street, but you're relatively alone.
Is it a spirit I recognize, or is it just a dead person?
As you kind of squint your eyes to get past the glare of the snow, you kind of look closer. It seems to be a dragonborn.
I'll walk up to the. Do you say it was like almost like reflected in a window?
No, it seems to be looking in a window.
Looking in a window. Yeah, sure. I'll walk up to wherever it is and sort of look into the same window. There's no tact in this man.
Yeah. As you go to look in the same window, are you doing it so you would be very close to it, as in if it was solid, shoulder rubbing kind of thing, or
Just
a
sort of
respectful distance away?
Just position myself so that I can see what it's looking at.
Okay. As far as you can tell, it appears to be watching a mother lizard folk. Well, no, lizard don't really have motherhood in the traditional way. It's probably closer to a nanny, who appears to be looking after a small cluster of various lizard folk children, almost babysitting them as they romp and play, kind of in this little house. In fact, the building is actually labelled, daycare centre.
The ghost was a dragonborn, right?
Yes.
He'll walk up, sort of a couple more steps, and I don't have speak with dead prepped, or anything like that.
In this case, you reckon you could probably just.
But he will just sort of go like, and just sort of cough towards it.
Are you looking directly at it?
Yeah, he'll just be looking towards it.
It'll kind of glance at you, realise looking directly at it, turn to look the other way to see what's he looking at, and then kind of slowly the realization of,
it's a dumbass
holy
ghost.
shit,
I love
this
it.
guy can see me. He kind of narrows its eyes and looks at you. Can you see me?
Yes, I can.
This is strange. Can
Truly,
many people see me?
I. Not unless they choose to look. Those gifted with magic might be able to see through a different lens, but for the most part, you walk unnoticed.
You speak in riddles. This is an unusual trait. Perhaps that explains your demeanor. If so, you wear the symbol of Custer.
It sort of looks at it like, yeah, I guess
Well-
I wear the symbol. of
Well, you
someone.
say you're in your clerical robes, so
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's more of the thing of like he wears them out of Budum-tish habit, but like the actual like tie, like the actual inner spiritual tie to Caster is tenuous at best.
sure.
I was like,
I am one of his children, yes.
I had heard rumors there were some human Goliath who interact with their deceased spirits. Why are you so far from your flock, I guess? Ugh, that sounds so patronizing, but
Exile, in honesty.
oh,
My connection with the next world is broken. I am unable to perform the one task that I was meant to have in life.
huh. That seems like a rough lot.
So a Goliath is having a mental breakdown in the street as far as anyone else is concerned.
It's
And
a
this ghost
quiet
is like, I
street.
haven't had a conversation in years, and now I get this riddle prick.
Who on earth said years? Who are not established how long this guy has been dead.
I also love the idea, since Ash is getting lost, the idea that she just walks past Arlath just talking to a wall.
And Ash just completely accepts this is normal for
I
Arla.
think for now we'll say it's a very quiet street. For
Yeah. He'll then say,
It is rough, yes, but adversity breeds hardship, and hardship breeds determination. I will either see myself mended or this injustice dealt with.
I wish you all the luck, friend. I had many challenges in life. Well, I assume life. I think I overcame most of them with a certain degree of success, although none is truly without regret. Especially not I.
If you can look fondly on your life, or at the very least what you imagine of it, then I dare say you have done well for yourself. I would offer you my prayers, but I fear they would only serve to tether you even closer to this world.
Yeah, I am not convinced that your prayers would have an effect. At least not immediately. I'm not entirely sure why I am here. I do fade in and out of existence. I am not sure what to call this. I am very new, if you had not guessed.
can I, like, would Arlath know, like, what might cause a spirit to become, like, stuck?
Religion.
That's one of them there skills that we're not proficient in. Hell yeah. Go Arlath. Boom! I'm going to cash in an inspiration on that one.
Okay.
The classic Nat 1. Maybe I'll inspire this.
Okay. You have a couple of ideas. You think it might be a good idea to ask how long the spirit might have been in this state.
How long have you been like this? Like, new, as you say.
It is difficult to like the certain. I do not know how much time passes when I am not here, but by my best guesses, observing the world around me, possibly a week. If it helps, I am not entirely convinced I am permanently, well, that's not permanently, I am completely dead.
That would explain the phasing in and out.
Quite.
Do
I
you
was-
remember where you died?
I was in my bed. I had been sleeping on and off for a month or so leading up to this. All sorts of family came, though I did not recognize most of them. I closed my eyes, and next thing I knew, I was lying there, but he was no longer constrained by my body. I did not feel the effects of my age. And I found myself getting up, and I was like this, and I saw myself lying in my bed. I have not returned there since.
Perhaps it might be worth a visit.
I am not sure that would be a good idea for either of us.
Well, I suppose there is only one way to find out, but if this state persists, my companions and I seem to be here for at least a week. If you are still in this state, I will check this alley if this is your usual go-to each night.
I have been wandering, enjoying the city in ways I did not in life. Yeah, these children. Yeah. I never cared for them much when I was alive, but it is funny. Now I see them before me, I almost regret that I did not have any myself. But if you particularly want me to return here so we can meet again, I think I could arrange it. I am somewhat familiar with the layout of the city.
You are unique. To me, at least.
Believe me, I'm not unique. I'm unique to far more people than you.
Yowza.
To learn about what is happening to you would, I believe it would help me.
Yeah, maybe.
And hopefully, I can help you as well.
We shall see. Very well, until this evening. Or tomorrow evening, whichever you prefer.
Alath will you give a short nod, sort of go to extend a hand and then stop himself.
The spirit will kind of reach out and, he seems to want to mime the gesture even if you can't actually touch.
Yeah, then I think Alath has enough respect to mime the gesture of a handshake
Sure.
with this spirit, and then sort of give a short, like I said, let's like a short nod, and then turn to head back to the Merryfall to think
kind
this
of-
over.
You give him a nod, and the image of him stutters. It's almost like he's got a bad signal on like a TV or whatever. And then it fades from existence. You head back to the tavern to regroup where you're already. And I think on that note, we shall end the session.
Driftleet's just hanging out in the tavern, just waiting for Ash to get back.
Sure. Okay, yeah. So that was the session. Okay, so a few things to say. First of all, we'll do inspiration. So, Britty, you put that straw poll up in the chat.
And it is.
Cool. So, for those of you who don't know, I like to give a quick little reward to players at the end of the session. People might have a great RP, somebody told a good, or in this case of today, perhaps terrible joke.
There were a couple of bad ones tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something along those lines, and then they get a point of inspiration. We saw it just now, actually. I do it slightly different through HB. So instead of getting advantage and roll, you can roll a die. And no, I don't like that. I'm going to spend a point of inspiration to re-roll it, because then you're getting at least a measure of value out of it. And yeah, so there's two ways I do it. I like to open up to the players, have a quick vote who they want to give it to. It can be me, and then since we're streaming, I like to give it to the chat as well. Okay, so we shall start with Lumie.
Yeah, I had made my mind up, but then forgot. I think I'm gonna go with Phoenix today for some cool RP moments. We're starting to open up a little bit.
Yeah. Mr. Matt.
I think I'm gonna go with Fleet today.
All right.
I enjoyed some of the moments, and yeah, conveying the idea of can you cast sending to my mother, and it all just happened in character without words having to be said. That was really cool. That was a really cool moment.
Probably we vibed there. That was nice.
Nat.
I'm also going to vote for Matt because thank you for not sending Althea. Thank you. It's been so long since I've had to conjure up that mindset that I genuinely don't know what I would have done.
You're no longer a positive person. And Britty.
I think my vote's gonna go to Ash for not only sputtering gayness, but also losing to a kobold, and I feel a little bad.
Fun fact, sputtering gayness, also a terrible porno.
Oh Jesus!
Oh.
So Ash gets a pity vote. Thank you very much, Britty.
Hey, that one goes to Mr. Phoenix.
Well, it was a real vote along with the pity vote.
I actually can't accept it. I'm at my maximum inspirations at the moment.
Oh no.
Okay, who did you vote for? You voted for Britty.
Pretty.
All right, passes on to you then.
Oh, lovely.
That's how I'm going to rule that.
Nice.
A solid way to rule it.
Yeah, so,
At full
I
stacks
have
now.
a couple of things to say about the YouTube channel. So, immediately after we finish tonight, every VOD I have is now going to go live on YouTube to up to last week. There are a handful missing, which is highly unfortunate. But I have basically given up on trying to edit things. Because it was manageable when they were 3 gig files, but now they're 9 gig files. It just takes like 7 times longer, and it's just unattainable. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to directly export from Twitch. So there won't be editors. I'll have like the beginning and end, and like the break in the middle in them from now on, and even some of the past ones. And people just have to deal with it because unless we get a significant increase in view figures, it's just not worth my time at all. So yes, immediately after this session, so it'll be episodes 9 to 20, with like 2 or 3 unfortunately missing, will go live on YouTube, and then this one will probably go up either later today if we have time, or most likely tomorrow, probably tomorrow morning. And because I was sorting it out, I didn't have time to do the episodes 1 to 10 and 11 to 20 recaps I was planning to do. So I'm going to be finishing those off this coming week. So hopefully I'll be there for next Wednesday. So yes, keep an eye out for that. For updates for when I actually make the today's VOD live, stuff like that, follow our Twitter, and for when I do the 10 session recaps. Check out our Twitter at rolling_with_it for updates about when we go live, when VODs are uploaded, stuff along those lines. Just talking about YouTube, check out YouTube for VODs, stuff like that. If you have any feedback, we always appreciate it. About the game, about the stream, anything. If we don't know what's wrong, we can't fix it. We want to create the best thing we can. If you enjoyed, consider sharing. Share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your grandma. Someone's got a grandma out there that likes D&D. Anything else? Oh yeah. A minor selfish thing. I will be streaming tomorrow on my Twitch, doing some more Nightmare Doom. I'm not as bad as I thought, but I'm still not good.
How'd the last one go?
I did the first 2 levels, but they are by far the easiest. I am worried when we start meeting some bigger and nasty things. Let's put it that way.
What's nightmare difficulty? Is it like you have 1 life and you just play the game until you die, or is it like...
it's the hardest difficulty. So everything has like the highest health and does the most damage it can. There's 1 level above which is Ultra Nightmare, which you don't have checkpoints, so you have to do the entire level in 1 life. But I'm not doing that. I'm just doing Nightmare because I'm bad at games.
I mean, hey, do it enough, and we'll make a speedrunner out of you yet.
Oh, don't say that. But yeah,
something like Minecraft.
have you seen Minecraft speedruns? They're insane.
They're fucking mental, aren't they? I've kind of got a little bit obsessed with Dream lately, and it was completely by accident, but I'm not mad about it.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, my YouTube recommended went a bit crazy for a while, so now I'm following like Dream, Tapple, and God, who's the other
Apple's
one?
a good one.
George, I love George.
Boosfer. So I'm following Dream, Tapple, and Boosfer at the moment, and it's so strangely addictive to watch.
It is, isn't it? Like I barely even know the fucking
Should we
how to
sign
run
off
around
the
in
stream?
Minecraft. But
yeah, we should probably end for now.
It's another.
Everyone, go follow Dream.
Another 6-way.
He doesn't need that.
Yeah, no, he does not need that. Go follow Boosfer. He needs it. 6-way tie for the straw poll. So DM's choice.
Oh.
No one
was it
voted.
me?
Yeah, no one voted. Come on, guys, get in the straw poll. Go vote. Go decide who gets that reroll. Literally, just one of you has to vote, and you get to decide who gets it. That's a lot of power.
If it's tied, I'll just roll a d6. So, me, Britty, Yareth, Lumie, Matt.
Ooh.
Oh, you get it again.
I'm
Okay,
going to fling mine over to.
Re-roll that. I think we're
I was
going
going to say, does that just go to Britty as well?
I mean, if you take it on the straw poll, 5 is Nat. If you take it on the straw poll, the 5th name is Nat, so it could go him.
Oh, yeah, we'll go with that then. There you go. Alaf, you can have your blood inspiration. It's not blood inspiration.
And then I don't think there's anything else. So all that's left to say is bye, everyone.
Cheerio.
See you next Wednesday.
Thanks for
Ow.
the fish.